7 o'clock. All right, 7 o'clock on Monday, March 11th, 2024. I'm going to call the regular council meeting to order. Madam Secretary, you want to take roll?
Mark Campbell.
Here.
David Dryden.
Here.
David Kinsler.
Here.
John Crowe.
Here.
J.T. Trevino.
Here.
Robert Simmons.
All right, you got a form? Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Make a little change to our agenda. 5.4 is going to be up next, and then 5.2 will be up after.
5-2 needs to go first.
5.
I don't think it's. 5-2 needs to go first, 'cause he's got these on.
Okay, fire, we're gonna let them go first.
That's fine.
We're good, okay. So 5.2 is gonna go first, and then fire will go after them. 5.2 is Republic Services. Bernas, to discuss with council cleanup day option. It's all yours, sir. Where you at? You were sitting there.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council members. I was asked to come in today. I know that their future with this road's gonna change, and the way we're currently doing our cleanup is to utilize this space. The couple options I can come up with for you is, one, you can have some 30 yards drop, but you need a secure yard to do it, just because of illegal dumping that will happen. So if it's not manned and or secured, you have the risk of folks around here seeing an empty container and they'll load it up. That's the catch on that. The second is to leave it the way it is, but I have a feeling that with the way it's about to change here in the future, it's gonna be a little bit of a challenge. And third is that we will pick a week of the year and we will double the volume everybody's allowed to put out right now. So they're allowed 4 yards, so they get 8 yards one time a year. We'll let them know that it's the cleanup week. Have it out Monday morning. We'll run a food truck through here and rear loaders third of the week to clean everything up. So really those are the 3 options that are available to you. Obviously there's no cost to you. It's gonna be part of the cleanup. So I just wanted to come by because we're trying to get ahead of it before something. I don't know what you want to do this year. I'm not sure when this is shutting down, but I want to at least come out and give you a couple options that are out there for you so you can throw it around and or see which one will work for you. So if there's any questions, I can take questions.
I do have a question about the third option, the 8 yards, for a week, once a year.
Yeah, so we'll say the week of whatever week we pick, just have your material out that Monday morning, and then we'll go through the city and clean everything up, but it has to be out that Monday morning. That way we'll keep cleaner areas out.
Is there a certain time of year that you prefer that to happen?
If we had to do it this year, it's probably gonna be the last week of July and or August. We have to time it where it's the 5th week of the year, because so the equipment's available. So we'll look at it and get the word out.
So that timing would coincide with the 5th week.
Correct.
And that would be on a Monday.
We start on a Monday, and then depending on how much volume's out there, it may take us 3, 4, 5 days to get through those.
And we'd be driving the whole city every day for 4 or 5 days?
What we'll do is we'll say we're gonna start at point A, and then we'll methodically run through the city. We'll let you know how we're gonna run it, but once we clear a zone, it's clear.
Right, because when we allow the citizens currently, when they come through with the containers, as they fill up their pickup trucks or trailers, they make a second round and or a third round. We're not holding that much accountability because it's just St. Paul.
Right.
However, we're not, imposing any citizens not to come second or third time. So
Right.
if you guys are making multiple trips, can they be allotted to put another, more
Well,
stuff
we're
out?
trying to limit it to the 8 yards because of
Now,
the
it'd
volume
be 1 in zones, 1 pickup per
Yes.
citizen.
per area. That's the drawback on this one.
When it comes to 8 yards, how
So
how
8
would you propose 8 yards to a citizen who might not know what 8 yards is?
So 1 yard, easy way to think about it is 1 yard is your kitchen stove or a washing machine. 8 yards is actually about 12 feet long, 6 feet deep by 3 feet high. Length times width times height divided by 27 is the way we come up with that, just so everybody knows. But as far as we would let them know that your stove in your home, it figured that's about 1 yard.
Okay.
So you start putting some to it.
So like the brush, I know that's a big thing for brush, so the boom trucks.
Will run.
Would run too.
Yes,
Okay, for large items.
that's probably gonna be the majority of what we do.
Do you do this for any other municipalities?
We do.
Where it's handled on a municipality basis and we just go picking up or something?
We do that every week, we do it once a month here, but we do it for the other cities weekly. But as far as cleanups go, we usually, most of them we have out here right now in North Texas, we set roll-off containers on the Saturday like we've been doing. And or if they have a secure area, we'll set the roll-off. And now, if you have a secure area, I don't know if you wanna look at temp fencing, do it here with temp fencing and a gate, but then there's a cost involved. Now the citizens get to come when they need to, and they can do more than one trip, because we come each day and empty the roll-off. That's the big 30-yard boxes, we empty them.
They're
bring it in.
responsible for their own, so making sure that nobody else is liable other than themselves.
Correct.
The problem I've got with the current way is I'm always out of town that weekend. So I get stuck having to run to the dump anyway by myself. And that does create us with personnel issues as far as having people to run it and keep up with that, which is actually gonna run us into 5.3, where we're gonna discuss and consider what our responsibilities are in all of this. In the past, we have had trouble getting enough people to work it.
Yeah, and we're nervous, I'll be quite honest, I'm nervous every time I see our boom truck picking stuff off personal trailers, because we haven't had it, knock on wood, but the first time that we don't do it correctly, we're gonna end up having to pay a claim, so we're gonna talk to you about that anyhow on the payment sign a waiver or something.
Rick, there's a question I had about that. We had, and I've volunteered several years for this, and I know others on this diocese have. We have never signed a waiver as a volunteer, saying, I understand and accept the responsibility for myself. Is that not required?
That's a city decision or a town
That's a
decision.
city or town decision. That's strictly up to the insurance, correct?
That's up on you, that's not on us.
Alright.
Really what we're here to do is load it into the container or pick the load.
You brought it up about the concern of
Well, the
damaging
reason that
somebody's
boom truck,
property.
we were gonna talk about, we were gonna
Extra-
probably present a waiver to the citizens to sign before we did it, because there's a lot of liability there.
and then extrapolate that to human bodies.
Mhm.
Yeah, we should probably do the waiver, like you said, but also do a,
Well, we might not have to do a waiver if we leave a container here or several containers, who's, let's say we have those are picked up, let's say we wanna do this over the course of weekend, or possibly 2 weekends, these fill up and, hey, you gotta wait till next weekend. This thus furthering the amount of time, allowing people in the event that they're out of town, come back in, the preceding week. Is that is that an option?
That is an option, but then the citizens would offload themselves.
Correct, right, I kinda like that, cause now there's no need for, not trying to get into 5.3, but now there's no need for a liability form.
Once they step on the property of the town of St. Paul and injure themselves, are you not liable?
Right, okay, so
I mean, there's-
that's completely off the,
Yeah, there's been talk about bringing a Boy Scout troop or something out here, and that's
but
not.
that's 5.3, we don't need to.
Oh, I'm sorry,
well-
that's where I'm at with them up here.
Do y'all have more questions for Rick?
That's
though?
fine, yeah,
Let's-
we'll 5.2.
Let's focus on the questions
so
for
we
Rick.
could do that, is probably looking at that, and then do a whole harm list, if we do it for one day. And is there anything that, citizens cannot bring?
We'll put a list out, tires,
Yes.
your hazardous waste, your tires, your batteries,
Paint.
that kind of materials they can't bring.
And with that being the case, I think we should just put it out at our house. And everyone continues, they accept the responsibility themselves. You got hazardous waste you wanna get rid of?
Okay, let's,
Last
No,
5-3.
that's option number 3.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's 5-3.
well, options.
Is there one of those that makes it easier or
We can,
better or
we'll
worse
do
for
it any
you
way
anyway?
the town wants to. I think for the citizen side of it, it's probably easier for them to put it out at the curb, because they have to break the curb and they're complete with it. Now, if you have more than the 8 yards, you're always more than welcome to call us for a pay file, as we call it. If you're generating that much, they still gotta get their 4 yards every month like they currently do, but they have an extra 4 yard.
And now there's the option of the boom truck, because we don't have the boom truck coming every month, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Unless it's, I mean, some of the large files are heavy ones we do, but it's just a random hit, but that one's gonna be where we run the boom the whole week, just so we know we're gonna have to.
That's not bad.
So if we have someone that puts too much out, we've run into this before, if they put too much out, and the next door neighbor's not putting anything out.
It doesn't work that way. though.
I know, it doesn't work.
So what we'll do is we'll pick up we'll take a before picture, we'll pick up 8 yards, we'll take an after picture and tag it, and then we'll let the city know they had an extra 2 yards. They can contact us or they can wait till their next service. Okay. That way you have a before and after picture, and then there's communication going for both. Then it's up to the citizens on what if they wanna wait till the next service and or if they want it gone, they can call us.
Any other suggestions that you have for us that we haven't
yeah,
mentioned?
we don't want that laying out there for that long, do we?
I know, so that's on.
I mean, there's no perfect solution,
Is there
there's
anything
gonna be
else that you
a pro or con.
No, I mean, those are the 3 pretty solid options for you. It's just a matter of what you think the citizens will, the easiest on the citizens, or what's, the liabilities and everything else.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You want me to wait
Do
till?
you wanna keep it here with that?
Yeah, you want to wait till you get through the next one, I have some time to get started to do that.
Well, so that means we have to push all 5 forward. So,
It's 5-3.
No, I think.
we
I think
just
we're-
continue to 5-3. because we-
Okay, well, just, you guys good? We're good. Okay.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
All right, so now we'll move on to 5-3, which is discuss, consider act with regard to future cleanup responsibilities, obligations, and any insurance required. All right, welcome guys.
Simple to me, it comes out, and does an 8-yard pickup, once a year in July or on the 5th week.
Yeah.
Everyone's responsible for their own. We don't have all the traffic up here. We don't have to come up with volunteers. We don't have to worry about our liability as a city. Don't have to worry about you messing up my truck.
Don't have to worry about dirtying the streets with anything flying off the trailers and stuff like that as they're transporting up here. That's the biggest thing.
Well, and once this road gets closed off, it will
Right.
become nearly
Well, no,
impossible.
if you drive from your house up here and you have a brush in the back of your pickup
Oh,
truck,
yeah.
then it's not blowing everywhere. I like that a lot.
And the first option with a secure yard with a monitor, we'd have to rent fencing, which is a cost. We'd have to provide a person 24 hours to monitor that area, so no one's dumping, say, from Inspiration or driving into Plano. So frankly, I don't see 1 or 2 even as an option.
Yeah, we
3
could
seems
still-
to be the only good option.
We can still send our correspondence, still continue to call it our cleanup day,
Yep.
cleanup,
No, it's
We-
cleanup day, it's always been cleanup day.
continue to call it whatever we wanna call it, but, at least you'll run it for the week, is that right?
Yeah, well, it'll be each day of the week.
Each
so-
day of
Monday
the week.
pickup.
Yeah, so long, and you guys will be sending correspondence as well?
We'll have to send some kind of postcard out.
Okay, so we-
For this
we
year,
can-
and then next year, we'll put it on the calendar itself, and you'll know what it
Right,
is.
so we can do the same thing, so long as we are keeping our citizens informed. I don't see any reason as to why that option probably is the best. In my opinion, that's probably the best suited option.
Are there any citizen comments on this issue?
That'd be a question.
No, I looked that up, that's why we put it in.
Actually, Bob had a question.
Do you think the town could continue doing the hazardous waste? There's people accumulating tires, it's a mosquito problem, people need to get rid of paint solvent.
That'll
You
have to
still
be,
get
that's
ster-
another,
Hold on.
that's another subject on this topic,
You
if you hang on.
still get
for the-
Stericycle out here to.
If
have
you
it
hang on just a
take
minute, that's
$1,000.
on another topic here.
Address it, so we have a, you need to address the citizen.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I asked
I do have one question for you, one more
Yes, sir.
question. Let's say somebody puts out 10 yards, can we put in that flyer out there, if you put out more, you will be charged, instead of them calling and
Having to
back
come
and
back.
schedule, then it being left out there?
I wouldn't like that.
I don't know if the city, that's
That's
where we start
hard.
getting into arguments,
Citizen-
if we gotta get
citizen
billing
law.
information and everything, although we do have billing information on each customer, but I think we probably need to tag it the way we did, and then have them, you may say if you have more than the 8 yards, then you have to schedule a second pickup.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay, so, the hazardous materials, tires, we know that's not you. The hazardous materials is a totally separate company, and we do have to arrange for them a ways out, because, I guess after COVID, things got a little more difficult, but, those are gonna have to be on, like, separate days.
Which we
Which we
schedule
can
that.
do that, and we can schedule that out. Wanna make sure on the hazardous chemicals that somehow, the one thing that I saw with hazardous chemicals was, people with home businesses bringing things in, so that costs, so I don't know how really gauge that, but, I have talked to the environmental company, and, there is some some planning there as far as how far out we're gonna do it, so we'll have to think about when it's gonna be, what day, and then give that option. Another option might be for paper destruction day, or something where you can bring, because I've had a lot of people ask, do you have anything where we can do shredding? And so that might be a day where we have a shredder here. Tires was interesting, Mr. London knows this, that the tires were, there was a problem with the tire recycling at the time, and they couldn't pick them up, and they sat out there forever. So we wanna make sure whoever we have with regard to tires, that they can take tires, and they'll come and get them on a regular basis. Batteries, actually, people can take their own
Hold on,
batteries.
hold on. We're getting way off topic on that, with the batteries and tires and everything for this section.
Okay.
Let's stop there. Anybody else have anything, Mr. Brown? Bob, I'm sorry, I didn't see that you put 5-3 on there, I apologize. Did you have something?
No, I'd just like to see the hazardous waste continue and the tire disposal continue in some way, shape, or form, because beats people dumping on the ground or
Okay, sorry about
Spoke
that.
putting it in the garbage can, so.
All right.
It's a better way to get rid of it.
We'll look into it for sure.
Makes sense.
Agree with you on that one.
JT, you gonna make a motion on this?
So, yeah, no,
Yeah,
so,
I can make a motion, you know, I guess in regards to 5.3, in coordinating with Republic Services, I make a motion that we enable cleanup day to fall on the responsibility of citizens to put it out, their bulk pickup for 8 yards,
Up to 8 yards.
up to 8 yards, in front of their address for Republic Services to drive around and pick it up.
can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, passes.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
That was-
Thank
that
you
was
very much,
helpful.
Rick.
Thank you.
Any questions, feel free to call me. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll do that, thank you, guys.
All right, 5-4, Wiley Fire and Rescue EMS, is gonna do a presentation by, Fire Chief Brandon Blight.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. My name's Brandon Block. I'm the fire chief for the city of Wiley. We've got a long time partnership with St. Paul for both fire and EMS protection. About a year ago, we decided we were gonna make some changes to our response system and our EMS program. We met with the coalition about it. We've met multiple times about it. And so kind of the point of this presentation tonight is to bring the council up to speed on where we've been, what we've done for the last, since 1997, actually. Kind of what we've worked on over the last couple of years, or over the last couple of months, and then followed by kind of where we're going. I'm gonna stand over here, it's okay, my clicker's in the middle, so I'll just kind of go back and forth, if that's okay. Because I've got some paperwork over here if there's any questions. And I think the best way to handle this is if there are any questions, just stop me and I'll be glad to answer those questions, and then we can get back on track. Just kind of using this PowerPoint as a guide. So This is a PowerPoint that we've used a couple of times for our council, and for the coalition, and I really pared it down to specific to St. Paul, Wiley, and Collin County, because there's some unincorporated areas around Collin County that we respond to as well. So, tonight with me, I have our Assistant Chief, Brian Ritter. He's over our administration, support services, emergency management, and then Casey Nash, our Assistant Chief over operations. Heidi Hawkins isn't with us tonight. She's a new employee, that we hired to manage our EMS system, which is kind of where we're going. So are there any questions before I get started?
So sorry, guys, these are not connected tonight. Apple's having an issue.
What's that?
We don't mean to have our backs to you.
Oh, you're all good. You're not bothering me. You're not bothering me. So, Southeast EMS Coalition is a coalition that St. Paul, it started out as several different cities, but it's now Collin County, St. Paul, the city of Wiley, and the city of Lavon, city of Parker. And we have gone together to provide EMS service to that group, again, since 1997. It had a few more cities in it when we first started, but we did it to try to be financially responsible. We didn't want to be a part of the county's EMS system. We didn't want to wait for ambulances to come from other parts of the county. And so we kind of jumped off in this, again, when we were all a lot smaller. It's been a pretty unique model, and one of the things that I think is important to realize, and our councils had to realize it as well, is we've gotten a really good system for a long time for very little money. And we'll kind of go through that in a minute. The other thing is our current provider, which is now Paramedics Plus, was East Texas EMS. They have given us a tremendous amount of oversight. And so we run that as close as we can. We dispatch the ambulances through our dispatch center. We run the backup ambulances. We basically do everything just like they were employees. They just supply the employees and the ambulance, but they get all the billing revenue as well. So that's kind of what we've been working through over the last 20 years. There's kind of a timeline. And it started in 97, several updates to the contract along the way. We started with 2 ambulances. We added one backup ambulance, we added a second backup ambulance, and then we added a third ambulance when Fire Station 3 opened. So Paramedics Plus, just so everybody's on the same page. East Texas EMS has always had Paramedics Plus, but it was their for-profit. We were part of their nonprofit arm, which was East Texas EMS. And in 2017, that switched over to where everybody was Paramedics Plus. UT bought the operation in Tyler, and we became part of Paramedics Plus. So the current coalition contract for 23-24 costs $260,000 for the MICUs, the mobile intensive care units. We've always done this as kind of a cost sharing approach where each city pays their percentage. Obviously the big one up there that's continuing to take on more and more percentage is Lavon. They're going through kind of what Wiley went through in the early 2000s. And so they're really taking more market share, if you will, from everybody. Now, the new contract that we were going to enter into with Paramedics Plus will provide 3 ambulances at a cost of just over $1 million a year. So obviously, this contract has been in place for a long time. We were benefiting from kind of locking that in over the years. And the provider went from a nonprofit to a for-profit company. So the price jumped pretty dramatically. Wiley, the calls in Wiley, and we'll get into kind of the formula how we figure this in a minute, but the calls in Wiley are really what drives the cost. So we absorbed about $829,000 of the contract that we were going to sign. So, and again, so how did we get here? We did a presentation to our city council in 2021, basically detailing our concerns and where we wanted to go and what our council wanted, because that's important. Everybody's got to be on the same page. And the direction we got at that point was renew your contract and try to fix everything that's wrong with the contract. There's obviously been tremendous growth in this entire area, not just Wiley. And so we went through and really tried to focus on, for us to continue getting what we felt was the best for all of our citizens, everybody that we serve. And so we started working that way, and that was the direction we got. Renew the contract. If you can make it better, make it better. If you can't, come back to us and see us. So we started working on that new contract in 21-22. In fact, Chief Ritter and Chief Nash a little frustrated because we've completed that contract and we're about to send it to legal. And some things happened that I felt like, we weren't giving our citizens the best. We really struggled coming out of COVID with staffing for those ambulances. We were starting to staff them quite a bit. And so we went back and had a discussion with our council in March of 23, and they said, bring it in-house. So the city of Wiley budgeted for this new ambulance service, starting in this fiscal year, starting this last October. Now, we're still paying our portion to the coalition, and we're not collecting any revenue. So it's about $3.3 million that the city budgeted for creating this new EMS service, because we can't do it overnight. And we've got to be ready on October 1st to be 100% or 110%, not 75, not 50. And so that's what we've really been working on. We budgeted for that. We started hiring people. We felt like the model that we've had since the early 2000s worked really, really well. And so we wanted a fire-based EMS service is kind of the norm in this area, where everybody's firefighter paramedics, and you ride the ambulance or the fire truck, and you provide that level of service to your citizens. The problem is, firefighter paramedics, everybody's growing in this area, and firefighter paramedics are hard to come by. And I don't think there's 21 of them available out on the streets right now that we could go snatch up. And so we wanted to do an EMS division and kind of take what we've learned in the past from our other process and our other contracts, and we wanted to kind of bring that in-house and give us the ability to hire the absolute very best people. We can send them to the schools, but whether they're an EMT or a paramedic, or a firefighter paramedic, or a firefighter EMT, we wanted to have that option and have a place for them. And so that's kind of what we did with this EMS division. We started hiring in October of this year. And again, back to kind of the need for change: inconsistent quality, limited control, the cost increases, liability resources, or limited resources. When they were East Texas EMS, they were one of the biggest in the state as far as EMS services. Now we're their only 2 ambulances in Texas, and so it's just the 12 people that are assigned to here. There's no big pool of people to pull from. And then some legal liability. Again, back to the calls, I felt like we were starting to run into some quality issues that could potentially put the city at have some legal liability with just things that were happening on calls. And so, kind of the service benefits and impacts that we think this will have with this new EMS division. And again, we're going to get kind of down in the weeds in just a second on how this is laid out. But we want that operation to be completely integrated with the fire rescue operations that we already have in place. We know we can improve emergency medical care tremendously. Provide the highest level of service to the community. These employees that we're hiring are our employees. They don't work somewhere else. They belong to the city of Wiley, and we treat every one of our contracted service, whether it's Inspiration, St. Paul, Collin County, or Rockwall County, we treat them just like they're our citizens. We approach that. We don't send a limited response to St. Paul because it's St. Paul or to Inspiration or Rockwall County, because ultimately, not only does that negatively affect y'all citizens, it also negatively affects our employees. And so if normally in Wiley there's 6 people that responded to a cardiac arrest and we only sent 2 out here, it's not gonna be a good outcome for your people. It's gonna put our people in a weird spot because it's not something they're used to. So we think we can provide that highest level of service. Customer service satisfaction feedback, we're gonna work that, I believe, through our billing company, and then create a top tier EMS system that we can all be proud of and provide a high level of care to those that need us. So our service plan moving forward, 3 full-time ambulances. We already have a paramedic squad. Fire Station 2, for the most part, as long as they're in the station, that's our busiest station. For the most part, is who serves St. Paul. So we have a 4-person point there, with mostly firefighter paramedics on it. We've grown so much in the last couple of years, we have had to hire a few EMTs, and are still working through getting all of them through paramedic school. But our fire trucks, all of our apparatus are full advanced life support. So the good thing about that is, it doesn't matter if a fire truck or an ambulance gets there first, same level of care can be delivered to the person that needs it. So the plan moving forward is 3 full-time ambulances, 1 at Station 1, one at Station 3, one at Station 4, with also a paramedic squad, which is staffed with firefighter paramedics at Fire Station 2. Fire Station 2 will also have a backup ambulance that will be a fully equipped, in-service ambulance. If we need a fourth ambulance, those personnel will come off of that squad and get on the ambulance and make the EMS call. So it kind of gives us a little bit of backup there if we need it. We've got in our 5-year plan to add a fourth full-time ambulance. I think a lot of that's driven by growth. It could be quicker, it could be further away, but we've got it plugged into our 5-year plan in 2029. One thing that we have agreed to do over the years is allow our current provider to do non-emergency transfers out of the hospital. They generate a tremendous amount of revenue, which allows us to offset our costs, because if they make more money, they don't charge us as much. That's almost 2 calls a day that we'll get back, 1.5, 2 calls a day. So that will come out of the system because we're no longer going to do those. I don't think it really fits into our mission to do non-emergency transfers out of the hospital. They do generate good revenue, but we're a pretty expensive transport service, probably one of the most expensive transport services. So, and then a lot of operational efficiencies in the fact that we don't have to go through Paramedics Plus anymore to make the system changes and to do the things we want to do. We'll be able to control all that in-house. So what we've done to get us there, to start going there, we're just about there actually. We hired 9 EMTs, we hired 9 paramedics, we hired an EMS program manager, which Heidi has a history as an educator. She's a nurse, EMT, she's certified as a firefighter. We also hired an EMS records analyst that will help us make sure we maximize our billing. We upgraded Chief Nash's position to an assistant chief. We downgraded a division chief, did some reorganization, got a captain over training. Our daily staffing is currently 19 is our minimum. Obviously that will go up by 6 people once we get the ambulance service in place. So again, single role EMTs and paramedics. We felt like that was the best approach, simply because we needed to hire a lot of people. We've hired some that are firefighters. We've hired some that are EMTs that are in paramedic school, and we're trying to make sure that everything we do provides them a career path to get from point A to point C, whatever they want it to be. But we have a place for them here. If they want to stay in EMS their entire career, they can do that. If they want to get hired and go to fire academy and paramedic school and do the things we ask them to do to have a path into the fire service, I think that only benefits our organization and the citizens we serve, because then we're not starting over from scratch. When we hire somebody new, they've already been with our organization for a little while, so they kind of know the system. We've got 5 firefighter. Well, it's probably 6 now because we hired one that was in paramedic school and allowed him to finish. But we've got 5 firefighters, 6 firefighters in paramedic school now at Collin College, and so we're really trying to get our paramedic numbers back up. But it's tough to hire right now, just like in anything else. So kind of some key contractual things that need to be addressed. The current EMS emergency medical services contract expires October 1 of 2024. The city of Wiley is going this route. We have talked to the coalition members and said, hey, if you want us to keep providing service to y'all, we'll be glad to do so, but we don't think we need the EMS coalition anymore, because it is a governing body that allows each city to have input into the vendor, the price, where we're going, what we're doing, and each city was a voting member the way the bylaws are written. We don't think we need that anymore. We think that we can address, and we've met with the coalition a couple of different times, we think we can address that and provide that same service through an interlocal agreement between the 2 cities. So one thing that needs to happen, if St. Paul so chooses to go this way, is dissolve the coalition. We provided a sample resolution that we had drafted by our attorney with some modifications that could be used. We also talked to our attorney last week. He feels like the best thing for the cities to do is there's a 120-day out clause. He thinks that all the cities should send a letter saying, hey, we're gonna cancel this. When it expires, we're not going to renew, just to make sure that in one of the agreements over the years, all of our bases are covered. The current contract we're working off is the 14-15 contract, and that contract has a 120-day out, and it expires on that date. But there's contracts from 97, 98, 99, 02, 03. There's some amendments, and so he feels like the best thing to do is both send a letter and each council, that's council and commissioners court, to vote on a resolution that dissolves that. So, and again, I think we can handle anything we're going to do moving forward with the interlocal agreement. We have one drafted that the coalition members have reviewed, and we've got that at our legal right now. And obviously, that will come back to us. Once it comes back, your legal and your council will have the option to look over it as well. This is always the important part, to talk about money, right? So our call volume continues to go up. We're about 3,800 transports, about 5,900 EMS calls, about 3,800 transports. In this past fiscal year, even though we all budgeted for Paramedics Plus to add a third ambulance, they weren't in the position to do so. They didn't have the equipment or the people. So Wiley Fire we took our squad out of service and added a third ambulance. We started out 12 hours a day. Mid-year last year, we just moved some overtime, the contractual money to overtime, and we were filling that with overtime until we could get an ambulance up and running with these EMS personnel, and that's what we're doing today. So the way this has always kind of worked, and there's a breakdown for St. Paul and all the cities, but we come to St. Paul 89 times. I believe there's 84 transports, and y'all are about 1.75% of the overall call volume for the current coalition. And again, Lavon is definitely up on the increase over the last couple of years. Those are the times we actually made the call. Again, that's the 84. So 5 times either our fire apparatus got here and disregarded this, or the citizens disregarded this. They were going by private means or decided they didn't need us, or whatever the case may be. Generally speaking, if you call 911 and we get dispatched out here, we continue, even if the citizens call and disregard us, we'll still continue to respond. So the ambulance may disregard, but all right. Total cost of the program for the city this current fiscal year is about $3.3 million. $760,000 of that was capital expenditures. We are predicting, we're working on our budget right now, but we think that the ongoing cost to run the EMS service minus the capital is about $2.4 million annually.
Chief, quick question on this. We had touched on it before, but I want to make sure that everyone understands how long it takes to get equipment in this industry. So
Yeah.
when we're looking at something out there and we think we need another ambulance, how long is that going to take?
So currently, it's been all over the place. I mean, used to it was 6 months for an ambulance, 1 year for a fire apparatus. We ordered an ambulance in October of 21, and we got it 2 weeks ago. And it's just about in service with some things that are having to be added to that piece of equipment. So our goal is to have it in service by the end of March. Of course, there's a lot of licensing stuff that has to be done. Once we receive it, we can't do it before we get the actual apparatus. I actually, for our council, worked up just this week. They had some similar questions. And we're at 24 months on ambulance chassis, and anywhere somewhere between 3 and 4 years for fire apparatus, which is problematic because council members, at least in Wiley, are 3-year terms, and so they're going to be approving millions of dollars of equipment for something they're never even going to see unless they run a couple of terms. So definitely changed. We've talked to the apparatus manufacturers. One thing we did do that I think will help. Part of that capital this year is we purchased 2 ambulance chassis. So the cab and the frame rails, according to our vendor specs, And so our goal is, once we get those in, which is, they're supposed to be in August of this year. Now, the key to that is getting a VIN number. Once you get a VIN number, you're probably gonna get it at some point. But we haven't got a VIN number yet. But current delivery date's August of this year. We've already confirmed with our ambulance manufacturer. If we deliver them a chassis, it's 8 months after that, they'll deliver us an ambulance. So we've ordered 2 of those because although we've got a pretty good fleet, one of them's an 08 and the other 4 are 2016s. And now that we're gonna start using them every day, day in, day out, we're gonna have to increase that rotation or decrease it and replace those a little more often. So we've got a 21, we've got 1 on order now, and then we'll start. We're not gonna get rid of any of them for a while until we can get that system kind of, or the system catches up. It's supposedly still COVID. I think it's all kinds of things. At the end of the day, there have been a lot of fire apparatus because of ARPA money and different things. There's been a lot of fire apparatus ordered, and I think that's really kind of backlogged the manufacturers. So yeah, it's a long time, and it's frustrating. We also ordered 3 fire trucks in 21, and we might get to go see those soon. So this is kind of how we're looking at setting this up. Again, this will now, under this, once the coalition goes away, if that's what St. Paul so decides to do, it will be a cost sharing, I guess a cost sharing ILA, cost sharing agreement, much like we've done in the past. So all of our agreements, whether it's St. Paul or the county or Inspiration, our dispatching agreements, we dispatch for several other agencies as well. We do the cost, we figure out how that's gonna play out, and then we add a 10% administrative fee. That's for HR, it's for adding all your addresses into our computer-aided dispatch system. It's for our dispatch. Dispatch is really not included in here, but we obviously do dispatch y'all's calls. So that's kind of what we're looking at moving forward with this new system. So on the bottom left down here, this is what we were all going to pay moving forward with our current ambulance contractor. In the middle here, kind of shows the cost share with some assumptions that we're going to collect some revenue. And if I'm going to continue to work here, we better be collecting some revenue pretty soon, or it won't be me talking to you. So we anticipate year 1 it'll be about $976,000. So obviously that comes off of anything that it costs us to operate the EMS service. So you got your 2.4 million, which is our projected budget for this year minus capital. You've got your projected revenues, and then you've got the percentage of call volume for each community that we will serve to basically show what it would cost each city. I've got a breakdown. There's Wiley's. So Wiley, again, 2.4, 976,000 in revenue, leaves us a balance of 1.4. It's 4,700 calls, and then it just we're about 80%. I have the same for St. Paul. So it's the same breakdown, 84 calls, about 1.75%. With 25,000 plus the 10% is about 28,000. Collin County pays their share as well. That's any unincorporated area that's in our fire district, not just in and around St. Paul. So any unincorporated area in our fire district is incorporated into these numbers here.
So
Inspiration is carried in the city of Wiley's numbers. We carry their population. We have a separate contract with them to provide fire and EMS.
Is that a broke down cost that's gonna be demonstrated here?
No.
Okay.
I mean, they have a completely separate contract that's not figured this way. The
They get better
citizens,
rates?
I'm sorry?
Do they get better rates?
No.
Okay.
I don't think the city of St. Paul wants, or town of St. Paul wants their contract. Our city council took a pretty hard stance on Inspiration being their own taxing entity and being in the county. And they said, we'll cover it, but you've got to pay exactly what a citizen in Wiley pays. So we take our budget divided by well, it's gotten a little convoluted over the last couple of years, but at the end of the day, we figure what a citizen in Wiley costs per residential lot or per lot. We apply that to St. Paul, their number of built-upon lots. We add 10% to it, and that's what they pay. Inspiration, I'm sorry, yeah, inspiration. So no, it's not better rates. They are carried in our numbers, but their contract is just over $1 million a year, for fire and EMS services, so. But it's a completely different problem and inspiration than it is in St. Paul. Y'all are, everybody lives on acreage, everybody's spread out, and they're a regular city neighborhood, just like any other neighborhood we serve in our community. So it's a very different approach, very different problem, very different density. And that is pretty much it. I'll be glad to go back to any of these, answer any questions that you have. Again, we provided a sample letter, we provided a sample resolution for the council. The ILA is still in the works, but that's what we're proposing, and that's how we will serve our citizens moving forward beginning in October.
You ever have run into an issue where there's the necessity for 4 ambulances versus 3? So how do you guys respond to that?
We have mutual aid agreements set up with just about everybody around us. In fact, we dispatch for Parker and Lucas and Fairview. So we can automatically dispatch their units back here, just like they're somebody from Wiley. We also have mutual aid agreements and can dispatch Murphy Fire back here. And so one of those slides, in fact, shows how often you're going to get somebody else. So the town of St. Paul got Lucas 3 times last year. And then obviously that's showing 4 ambulances. Now we moved some ambulances around, so maybe the backup ambulance was at station 1 or station 2 or whatever the case may be. But several times last year, y'all got a 4th ambulance, whether it was from us or somebody else. Now, those mutual aid agreements go all the way through Plano, Garland.
Is that
Saxon.
at an incurred cost, or?
No, there's no cost for that. Everybody has an agreement to help each other out. Now, I want to be very clear. They bill your citizens. They bill your citizens for that ambulance ride, just like we do, just like a private company would. So when I say there's no cost, you're not going to get a bill for it. The town is not going to get it. The citizens' insurance will get it, just like if you're going to the doctor or using an ambulance, or using ours, using anybody else's.
Chief, just to confirm that, the city, we actually do get a charge every time you run an ambulance out here, ambulance or fire truck.
Well, the fire contract, yes. The EMS contract right now is covered this way. Y'all pay it one time.
Okay. I'm sorry, you're correct.
Yeah, we will go to more of a service-based, hey, it costs this much to run it. Just for the EMS contract, there's no proposal to change the fire service contract. I don't think there is. I haven't heard of any if there is, so.
No.
And just to be clear, just so the St. Paul residents know how valuable you all are to them. Levon, Parker, those other cities, they have fire departments.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have anything here.
Right.
So.
Well, I'm probably a little biased, but I would say you're pretty lucky, but I'm probably pretty biased, but,
That's my point.
yeah, I think it's a natural fit. I mean, Parker is down the road. They do have some paid, part-time personnel now that they have staffing. Obviously Lucas has gone paid now, Fairview's paid, he got a couple of stations. Yeah, I've been on the fire department here since '93, and we've covered St. Paul since then. So, you know, I think it's a natural fit for us. We've always had a good relationship. And it's, yeah, y'all don't have a fire department, so there's no first responder. So you do have some options, as far as the EMS service goes. You could get on the county's coalition. They have somewhere between 4 and 6 ambulances covering the unincorporated areas of Collin County. That would be Melissa, Anna, Farmersville, sometimes Nevada, and then Princeton. They have one in Princeton. So it would become from one of those locations or somewhere in between. The other thing that I think, if that's the route St. Paul chose, I think we would have to discuss whether or not we can continue to run first responder out here, because it's gonna be difficult for us to hire a fire apparatus out here for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever their average response time is. So, certainly there, and that we would still respond to fires out here. But from an EMS perspective, I think it would be difficult to put your citizens, our people, or our citizens, because that's gonna, if we got an apparatus tied up out here for an extended period of time waiting on an ambulance from Princeton, that's going to be a challenge for us as well. So, yeah, I think there's some other options, but I don't think they're good ones.
So, when EMS responds with an ambulance, does the fire truck automatically get
Yes, sir.
disposable?
Yes.
So we are gonna get billed for the fire response and now.
Well, you're paying for the EMS response just like you are today. So you'll get dispatched, you will get a bill for the fire response. But again, if the ambulance is coming from Plano or Lucas or our Station 1, it's gonna be extended time. So that's why we send that fire apparatus.
So let's go with this.
Yeah. The fire contract will not change. The only number that will change under this proposal. Go back to the sheet right here, 'cause it lays it all out. Is this right here that's basically.
Chief, actually, you could break that down. You're showing under our current contract, paramedic plus, we're looking at 13,000 for the year. But, yeah, under this program, we're going up to $25,000 to $26,000 for the year. But that is for
The first year.
year one. You had, I've seen the breakdown where it actually goes out 2,
Right.
3, 4, 5 years, where it actually drops
Yeah,
way
it
back
increases
down.
every
And it
year.
has to do with, as we were just talking about, the new equipment that has to come into play.
I think that in the cost sharing, I mean, the fire department doesn't make any money off this, right? All of our revenue goes into the general fund, just like any other departments. And so, our proposal to our counter, is, hey, if we're making more money and helping to offset our costs, then we need to pass that around to everybody. Now, our council has been pretty open to that. We haven't wrote that down just yet, as far as, we haven't inked that deal, how we're gonna show everybody, but we've showed them this proposal. We've showed them our projected revenues. We haven't run any pushback yet.
So basically, the way that you're proposing this is, it would be set up to where we're actually going to get the exact same fire and ambulance protection that someone in Wiley gets, but we're actually getting it at a discount.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna, for y'all, it's gonna go up from
It's going
13
up,
to 20.
yes.
Yeah, exactly, but that's the only increase. We don't anticipate any increases outside of the contracted amount for fire protection. And I think it will be a much better service. I mean, we've taken a lot of steps, from med control to equipment to personnel to the FTO and the checkoff process to hire those people. Again, we're expecting them to stick around for a while. Our current provider, especially since COVID, we've had a lot of turnover. They don't pay real well, and people get in here and work for a couple of months and they're on down the road to the next place. And so, and hey, we don't pay the absolute best either. There's some departments around us, some cities around us we just can't compete with. But we try and we stay pretty close. And if you've been working for a private EMS service and you can come to work for the city and get the benefits, and the environment and the culture and everything that goes along with that, we think we can provide a much better employee to those that call for an ambulance.
So where we're at this point, basically, is considering and acting on a termination agreement. If we choose to do the termination agreement, which I absolutely think we should, and continue to move forward with Wiley, y'all are gonna continue to provide us with the same standard of care, actually better standard of care than we've gotten in the past, because everything is in-house. Our other option is to not do the termination agreement, and then we gotta go figure something out.
Well, yes, and somebody's gotta take over the coalition, because we're getting
We are out of it.
like, that's
Yeah.
a fact.
So we're out on our own trying to figure something
Yeah,
out.
I mean, and there's other options, that's not the only option. The other, you could sign a contract with a vendor to have an ambulance in the town of St. Paul. But I think it's gonna, I don't know that it's going to be affordable.
Well, the example
Swallow
is
law.
like paramedics first, or whatever they're called, there's 12 paramedics in the state, correct?
They're, for them, that work for them.
So, if
Well,
that
EMTs
were,
and paramedics.
if that were an option, you're bugging. You
Yeah.
know, where are we gonna get our ambulances from, dispatched from? How many people are gonna be assigned to this region or this area?
Well, I've been out here for 30 years, and I've been completely pleased with everything coming out of Wiley. And so, I'm gonna make a motion.
Well,
Hang on, can we
Yeah,
complete
let-
5-4?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
They're not making a motion on this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, but can we?
Yeah, continue by 4, okay.
I had one other thing, you mentioned a 120 day out. If we decided today, that's August.
Yeah.
You're saying October's when this starts.
The resolution we provided, and the date on the letter that we provided is for October the 1st.
Yes.
To make sure we're good on the 120 days, that's we put in there when it needed to be sent by. And the resolution is dissolving the coalition effective October 1, which is when the current.
Okay, so it would be 120 days starting in August for the dissolution.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Because that's what we have
I
to
just
do
think we need
first.
to conclude 5-4, so we gentlemen can go home and we can get on with the rest.
We need to dissolve or agree to the
Because
dissolution
you're already going into
first.
5-5.
Well, actually, they do need information with 5-5 because it is dealing with the city of Wiley.
They don't need that here tonight.
Yeah, they don't do that.
We got a full agenda, let's go.
The only other thing I would say is we have EMS service in place today. So today, you're actually getting more ambulances because as our personnel have gotten checked off, and we're about 4 people away from being fully staffed. As we've gotten those folks checked off, we're putting extra ambulances in service because we want them to start learning and get that experience and know where St. Paul is. And so, if our vendor said, hey, we're out tomorrow, we have a plan in place to be able to make sure that the citizens still get ambulances. Both y'all citizens and ours.
Has there been any concern from your town attorney, or from your city's attorney, saying the moment the 120 days out, if they get hit at 120 days by everybody, that they just cancel right then and there?
It's been a concern. It's been a concern since we told them, because there's, obviously, they have some other ways they can get out of the contract.
Right.
But I'm a little less concerned about that today because of where we
Now
are
that
with
you-
staffing, equipment, or, everything. We are running the ambulances today. In fact, we're going to hire some of their personnel and we're gonna put them through a full orientation process, just like we have our new people. And while that's going on, we will put our people on the ambulances and continue to run them. So there's no dip in service. So, yes, I'm worried about that, but also, they wanna finish this contract out. We've been partners for a long time, and we meet with them every month to talk about their status, where they're at with their staffing. And there's no hidden agenda. I mean, everybody's pretty much on the up and up. Again, we've known each other for a long time, and we wanna end it strong and end it the right way. Both them as a company and us as a city. So, I'm not too concerned about that at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brent.
Does he have a handout?
All right, we're gonna go on to number two, citizen comments. Mr. London, you're up.
All right, top of the list. Item 5.21 regarding, I'm not sure what you call it, recreational vehicles. It's a little concerning if the council's gonna try to prevent citizens in the future from four-wheelers, side-by-side, golf carts, driving on their properties. I think people moved out here to be able to use their property, use their open space without undue restrictions. I would not like to see any kind of restrictions put on something because somebody's got a child like to go-kart out in the yard.
Okay, so what do we do when we have citizens complaining about the streets being safe? Do we have to make our streets safe for our children?
Well, the idea of them having it on the property is keep them off the streets.
Okay, so then, code hasn't been written, so what you wanna do in your backyard is fine.
I'd rather not debate this with you. I've got 3 minutes to speak, and I appreciate not being interrupted so I can speak. You guys can discuss it as you want later. Item 5.22, the town hall is a polling place. Sinkhole elections have always been held at town hall. This newly remodeled building is ADA compliant. It was designed with wide doorways, ample parking to accommodate running election. We're supposed to be serving our citizens. We should not move our polling place to Wiley. We're gonna have a sinkhole election, should be in the town hall. We don't need to make it more difficult for our citizens to vote. We should kind of celebrate the fact that we're having our first election in about 15 years. We spent $800,000 on this building, so I think we ought to use it. We're gonna have an election, we ought to have it here. And there was a mention, item 5.7 about changing the meeting date. It seems that that's to accommodate the attorney's schedule. Well, he works for us, we don't work for him, so if he's not able to show up, he works for a big firm, they should be able to send somebody in to cover for him. Or you guys can look for another legal alternative if he can't show up for meetings. Having 2 meetings a month is gonna be taxing on people that sit at that desk, it's gonna be taxing on the staff. Having to do 2 agendas, 2 exhibits on every month. They'll spend the majority of the time with the staff that we have right now, just trying to do 2 meetings. It doesn't make sense to have 2 meetings. And that's all I needed to cover. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. King.
Well, I'm gonna do Mr. London first, so that's the easiest thing to do. I do feel the same way, that the council's trying to add extra meetings. Sounds like y'all trying to push something through before the election. We got an election coming up, it was the first one in what, 2 decades here? So it obviously means that the people, there's a lot of people in town that aren't happy with the direction the council's going. So increasing your meetings sounds like you're trying to push this church through, which you got on 5.6, and you also have on 5.19, and you also have on 5.20. So it just sounds like to me that the council's trying to push this church through before the election in case some people aren't here after the election. And then I'll also say on 5.21, I'd like to enforce what Mr. London said, that I don't think that you're trying to keep people safe by keeping it off the streets, because people park on the street on West Shore Drive, and they park in areas where my grandkids go out to play. So I'm complaining about people parking on that street anyway when they have the opportunity to park in their driveways, but they choose to park on the street. Maybe it's easier for them, I don't know. But if you're concerned about the citizens, we need to not have the church parking on the street, we need to not have other people parking on the street where kids are out playing. I also agree with the same thing. I have 10 acres and I use a mule to drive back and forth. I don't race it, but I want to be able to use it. And then last but not least, it really sounds like you're attacking the gentleman who has a go-kart that's running for council. Now, you may not be doing that, but let's look at the optics here. Is that he's got a racetrack in his backyard. I don't think it's a racetrack, it's a go-kart track, because this kid likes to run maybe around a go-kart track. And if you're trying to get rid of that kind of stuff, it kind of sounds like you're attacking him while he's running for council. Now, it may not be that way, but you have to look at the optics. It walks like a duck, sounds like a duck, it's probably a duck. Now, there's also one thing I want to say, because in my younger days, yeah, I was in racing, I've been around racetracks all my life. There's organizations out there that take these kids that like to do go-karting or quarter mile and different stuff, and they make them keep their grades up. So to have a place that he's got enough room and he can do that, and his kid can practice, and he can go to these meets, and if it helps him keep his kid in school and keeps his grades up, then that's something that you definitely should take care of other people, and take away from the people. And I also agree with Mr. London, we moved out here so that we can do those kind of things. Now, I'm not gonna race on the street, I don't think anybody else is racing on the street. The only people I've seen racing on the street are the people that have come from across the lake, come across Port property, race down our street, race down to the park, and the park guy chases them back up. We've also had a kid on the street next door to me that came down and did donuts in the cul-de-sac in our place down there. We have no way to enforce any of this stuff, and I know you're looking at something on here on municipal court development, but kind of need to put the horse in front of the cart here. Let's get a development, let's get a court, then let's get somebody then that can enforce ordinance, instead of making a bunch of ordinances that we can't enforce.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. Mr. Swaner?
You did say me, correct? Yeah, Ken Swaner, 2500 Little Hunt Parkway. This is, y'all's concerned citizen form. There you go. Well, it just has to come to Butcher's Block, and so I did bring it to everybody. So anyway, I'm here tonight. I'll be here tonight. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask me. The form speaks for itself.
We have them do this.
Thank you.
Can we have them read it?
No, you
Yeah.
wanna read it?
I don't need to read
Accusing me
it.
of something?
I don't need to read it.
Are you accusing me of something?
This is, wait, time out.
No.
Mayor,
He's
don't.
accusing me of something.
No.
And three of them, two of them are running for council. No.
This is, time out. This is citizen comments. Would the citizen please stand up and comment?
Yes, sir, if that's what you require, I sure will. I was treated in an offensive way at 2510 Levon Parkway last March 1st, Friday. Yes, I'm running for mayor against this mayor. Yes, he's running against the other council member. This has nothing to do with that. I was standing on the street when a particular person came by and did an offensive gesture at me. It's that simple. I'm not accusing you. I'm saying I saw it with my own eyes. It's not a matter of calling me a liar or you a liar. I'm telling you the truth. You can fess up and apologize, or you cannot. It does not matter to me. I'm reporting it on a concerned citizen form as instructed in the way it was, and I'm not gonna read it. I'm just telling you the way I saw it. So you can fess up and apologize for it, or you can stand there and say you're accusing me of something I didn't do. I saw it with my own eyes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Graham, you're up next.
I saw it too, I confirmed that. That's not what I'm here to talk about. We got other topics to discuss. I would like to comment on agenda item 5.21, the racetrack facility ordinance. The track on my property is not commercial, it is just a dirt track that has been suited to make it less prone to flips, or as opposed to romping around on a bumpy yard. It is designed so that runoff areas don't have a fence, road, tree, or some other obstacle to run into. Motorsport is not without risk, but designing a safe track significantly reduces it. It is no secret that driving recreational off-road vehicles is riddled with risk. I'm sure that many in this very room have had that unfortunate experience of dealing with major injuries due to this sport. Personally, throughout my life before moving to St. Paul, I've witnessed the results of these types of accidents, which included major burns, flips, wrecks, my sister running into a barbed wire fence with her neck, one sister-in-law nearly getting decapitated by a gate, another sister-in-law having her leg amputated because of a UTV accident on a beach. Thankfully, my family is healthy now, but getting through those last 3 accidents involved nothing short of a miracle. In contrast to that, the sheer adrenaline and joy that these vehicles provide is unparalleled on a practical level. This is an over $10 billion industry and is not going away. Combine that with the typical lot sizes in St. Paul, and you will find that many residents own a variety of these types of vehicles. When I moved to St. Paul, I wanted my kids to experience this sport in a safe way and that is why the track was created. The track forces the kids to take a predefined path that is designed to be safe and fun at the same time. Since then, the track has provided joy to family, friends, and many kids in the neighborhood. There's no greater feeling than seeing a kid take off their helmet for the first time on the track and seeing a humongous smile from ear to ear. Furthermore, this agenda item appears to be an attack on my family and affects the residents with similar interests, as there are several other recreational tracks located in St. Paul. Given the status of the upcoming election, this is a combination of abuse of power and political retaliation. Voting in favor of this or anything that would disproportionately negatively impact candidates running for office is illegal on state and federal levels. This legal buffet includes the First Amendment, which includes the right to engage in political activities without fear of retaliation from government officials. Texas election code calls out intimidation and coercion. The Texas Constitution calls out political retaliation. Several sections of the Texas Penal Code, including 39.03, which says, and I'm paraphrasing here, a public servant acting under color of his office or employment commits an offense if he intentionally denies or impedes another in the exercise or enjoyment of any right, privilege, power, or immunity. Penalties for this range from a Class A misdemeanor to a felony. Given that, any opposed incumbents sitting on the council should recuse themselves from discussing or voting on topics related to 3990 Lakeway or the track ordinance at the very least. The track ordinance should be stricken from the agenda. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your input. Go.
All right, we're closed citizen comments.
Hold on, before you close it, I have one to read. Citizen sent me an email. So this is a 2605 Ash. I'm just gonna read the email. I got nothing else to comment on it.
Who's it from?
It is from a Lisa Knight.
Oh, I'd like to address that one, because I did receive an email from her
Okay.
also, and I responded, and is she here? Lisa Knight. I wanna make
I
sure
have
that.
no idea. I was asked just to read this because she couldn't be here.
Okay. If you'd like, I'll read it, and I will respond the same way that I did to her. It's all
I
written.
don't think that's necessary.
Yeah.
Well, she's just going to read it.
Yeah, just going to read
It's
this.
just a comment.
Yeah, here, let me just read that real quick. I'll just read it, so.
At this point, I would just like to hear what the citizen.
Right, that's exactly what I'm gonna do, just
Stated.
making sure it is, okay, cool. So, I'm a citizen of St. Paul that is ashamed of the antics the current council is trying to pull. To try to cram all the agenda items into one meeting is absurd. And add to an item to present to P and Z to investigate a track and continue to create a code to prevent a racetrack is a blatant attempt at a revenge against a citizen running for a council seat. How about presenting to P and Z a proposal to investigate the fact that people have old, junk, unregistered, non-working vehicles parked in their driveways in view of the public, which is an eyesore and decreases property values in the community. This current council needs to explore and work on how to, one, treat others with respect, stop with the rude comments. Two, demonstrate integrity, doing the right thing when no one's looking. Three, being transparent with town business, the relationship the town attorney has with the ICW landlord, and having the town attorney send out emails on behalf of the mayor's political sign. Did the town pay the attorney's fees for the email? And four, setting aside personal agenda revenge. I could go on, but you get my point. The citizens of St. Paul deserve better, and I'm ashamed of this council and the underhanded leadership. Lisa.
Thanks.
Well, that's it.
That's it, okay.
Don't comment on it.
There's no comment needed.
Well, actually, the lawyer said that if there was factual information to be had, comments can be made.
Correct.
Now, if there is factual information that can be relayed to whomever, a comment from the council can be made.
Absolutely. And
It must be factual.
it is,
Not opinion,
it is,
so.
We're gonna.
to try and cram all the agenda. Yeah. Okay, as she's,
But before you go, if we're doing that, then I'd like to, the two citizen comment concern forms,
Which ones?
The both that we just received, the one from Ken Swaner and the other one from Justin Graham, I'd like to address that if we're gonna address this as well.
Okay, I don't see the one from Justin.
Yeah, so I handed it down.
Yeah, I got it here.
Okay, yeah. There was one handed in by Justin, so.
You gotta get the one from Justin?
No, it was one, I just hand it down.
That should also go to.
So if we're gonna do that, then we should address these as well.
No argument there?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
That one's easy to read.
Yep.
Just let's read that.
So, I responded to Lisa Knight. She sent me this email yesterday, Sunday at 5 o'clock, 5:09 actually. And I responded back to her at 6:14 that I appreciate her concern and input and like for her to actually go ahead and present me with each concern, and I will personally address every item in writing to you. She did not give me anything else. She did not respond again. So I decided to respond to each of these individual items. Talking about antics that the current council's trying to pull, my response, I assure you that I do not know what you mean by this statement. Please provide me with a clear situation or question. She talks to try and cram all the agenda items into one meeting is absurd. My response, we have a large backlog of state requirements and normal city business to be addressed. This is common in all businesses and municipalities. This is also why we're looking at having to have more than one meeting a month. To talk about the item to P&Z to investigate a track. This is something that to create a track is a blatant attempt at revenge against a citizen running for a council seat. My response, this is something that a citizen brought forward as an exhibit that the town is not enforcing codes and ordinances equally. This is being presented to the council as an agenda item. I had no information other than that until after the meeting. When you make a complaint, we're responding, okay?
So
How
who
about-
made the complaint on the racetrack?
Huh?
Who made the complaint on the racetrack?
I don't know.
Well, then,
I don't know if we
you just
can-
got through saying that.
Let me
You just got through saying they should treat all ordinances equal.
Let's let him finish reading, Lisa's message.
Well, you're supposed to be responding with
I'm
facts.
sorry.
I am.
If we
Okay.
don't have
Yeah,
a person's name, how can we give you the person's name?
Because of, we have to
We
put
get
our names on
calls all
everything that
the
we
time.
comment on. So if somebody makes a complaint and won't put their name or address or
We
contact
still have to
information on
take
it,
it.
it should not be respected. If people are willing.
That's the same thing you guys are complaining about, well, not you guys, I'm sorry, that's the same thing that some citizens are complaining about.
Who?
Feeling disrespected.
Who?
So, here we are, we get complaints, we're trying to address them.
So,
You know what, we can't win up here.
So you want, I mean, no, yeah, you
Okay, hey,
can
I'm
win,
a
but you just need to
councilman. Your
present facts
3 minutes
that,
are
hey,
up.
I put my
Our
name
meeting
on
has
my
begun.
complaint. I put my name on my complaint. Everybody up here has to stand in front of you guys and give us your name, address, all this kind of stuff. So if somebody makes a complaint to the city of St. Paul, and they're not willing to give their name, a policeman won't take a complaint if you don't give him your name and what's going on. So.
I was
how is
here
it that-
today when you received a phone call from someone.
How is it,
Hold on.
how is it that a council, that anybody should respond to somebody that makes a complaint, but they won't say, okay, my name is so-and-so, I live at this address. If somebody lives next to his go-kart track and he's running it at midnight and they got a complaint, they'll tell you who they are, hey, he's running at midnight.
This has
and
not
stop.
been presented to us as an agenda item. I said we will have a comment once we do this, okay?
I'm just saying, where did the
Allow me to
racetrack
finish.
come in at? That's all I'm asking.
With due respect.
Okay.
Finish reading this so that we can move on, because it's on an agenda item and we're gonna discuss it anyway.
Exactly.
Okay?
How about presenting to P&Z a proposal to investigate the fact that people have old junk and unregistered non-working vehicles parked in their driveways in view of the public, which is an eyesore and decreases property values in the community? My response is, we have a code enforcement officer and are in the process of setting up a legitimate municipal court that will be able to deal with this exact issue. Please feel free to forward me a list of any property that you feel is in violation, and I will have it added to the code enforcement property evaluations. Also, please be aware that not all of these locations fall within town limits, and we may not have direct jurisdiction. There's areas in town that we don't have any jurisdiction on, ETJs and all, okay?
Or county.
Treat others, this current council needs to explore and work on how to treat others with respect. I've been on the town council for 4, and my response is, I agree that we should all be treating others with respect. I've been on the town council for 4 years and have never seen or heard anyone from the town treat anyone without respect. I've witnessed citizens treating others without respect to include blanket emails, making up erroneous facts, calling the ICW liars, and worse. I've also endured citizen comments to include yelling, rude gestures, requests to take this outside, and even where a citizen told the mayor to watch his back, among others. We're also being told that we need to demonstrate integrity. I truly believe that everyone on this council is a man of integrity. We may not all agree on everything. However, everyone in front of you today is a person of integrity and does his unpaid job to make St. Paul a better town as we all move into the 21st century. Number 3, being transparent with town business. Specifically, the relationship the town attorney has with the ICW landlord. And having the town attorney send out emails on behalf of the mayor's political sign. Did the town pay the attorney's fee for the email? Full transparency. The town attorney does not have a relationship with the ICW landlord. He knows who he is because he has sent official paperwork from the town to the property owner over the years, specifically regarding his SUP. As far as the town attorney sending out emails on behalf of the mayor's political sign, did the town pay the attorney's fee for the email? I don't know. My understanding of that was that someone filed a complaint against a sign, and the simple question was asking the attorney, what's wrong with this? The attorney sent something to the complainant. Once again, I don't know who all these people are, but sent something to the complainant and asked what was wrong with it. Okay? Okay, setting aside, setting aside personal agenda, revenge. I don't believe anyone here tonight has a personal agenda other than to continue to grow St. Paul. This is a small town we all know and love. We live here because we want to, without HOAs and big government telling us what we can and we can't do with our properties. She then states, I could go on, but you get my point. My response, please send any question or concern that you may have, and I will do my best to provide you with answers. That goes for everyone. You've got a question, put it to me in writing. I will respond to you in writing. The citizens of St. Paul deserve better. I'm ashamed of this council and their underhanded leadership. My response is, I believe that you may have been deceived if you believe this council has done anything underhanded. We have an attorney to ensure that we're meeting all of our legal requirements, to include freedom of information requests for both citizens and developers. We have a CPA and an audit firm covering our budget and all transactions. We work with an engineering firm to help evaluate every street and ditch within the town and ensure that all repairs are made within state and local codes and standards. We work with the sheriff's office to ensure that all local roads are monitored for parking violations and speed checks. We work with Wiley ISD for all concerns with our student transportation. We work with the fire marshal to have facilities inspected and ensure safety. We have a contracted food inspector to inspect our restaurants. We work with the Municipal Water District for our drinking water. We're contracted directly with the city of Wiley for fire and ambulance service. In short, I believe this council has provided our citizens with exceptional care and leadership. That's my response, and I stand by it. Mr. Mayor, you can move forward.
Do we want to address these?
I make a motion that we address those at our next meeting. And add it to the next meeting. We got a full agenda.
You go.
That was a motion.
Have a second? All in favor?
I was gonna ask the
Okay.
citizen, can I ask the citizen something?
Sure.
Okay. can you, Mr. Swaner, can you be here at our next meeting in the event that we have questions?
Next council meeting?
Next council
I've been
meeting.
at every council meeting. I will be here.
Is that a yes?
As far as I know, I have no plans.
All right, I'll second that motion. Or did somebody else second?
You make the motion, I second.
Okay. All in favor?
All in favor?
Yeah.
That's for the mayor to.
Okay, number 3 is approval of minutes from our last meeting.
Make a motion that we approve the council meeting minutes from February 12th, 2024.
You have a second? And I have a second, go ahead and make it.
Yeah, I'll second.
All in favor?
Alright.
Okay, 3.2 is our special council meeting on February 20th.
Oh. I'll make a motion that we approve 3.2.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, 4.1 is review year-to-date budget for action.
I'll go through that. Make a motion that we approve 4.1.
Second.
All in favor? All right, 4.2 is review balance of accounts.
I'll go through those. I'll make a motion to approve 4.2.
Well, it's good to have an accountant on board.
Got a second?
CPA, I'm sorry, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright.
5 is a regular agenda. Discuss,
Go ahead, sorry.
discuss, consider act on the following items. 5.1, discuss, consider act on updates in 1996, the investment policy to current law.
So the investment policy that I can find is, it's not signed, it's dated, and it doesn't coincide with current law. Feel like probably the town would be best in best interest of the town to have that brought current, and our attorney has wrapped such for review and approval.
But we don't have underouts for approval.
And I want to make sure that you all
It's
are,
5-3.
want to go through this process.
It's really not anything, it's just discussing.
It's just, yeah.
Okay. Sure, that's what policy.
You make a motion just to get a,
Oh, we don't have the attached?
there is not yet.
Okay, for the, it's old, it's just that it said see attached, it's old.
So we're saying we need to update our 96 investment policy to current law.
That's the only investment policy that can be found. So I gave you a copy, we've got a list now of ordinances, I gave you a snippet of what we have.
And so this is one of the reasons we've got so many items on the agenda, is we're finding it, so we need to approve it and move forward so that you can get that in place, correct?
I just wanna make sure, because there are attorney's fees, and yes, the town does have to spend attorney's fees to get things done correctly. He doesn't see where they ever reviewed it or approved anything for that.
Who discovered this?
Discovered the document that was, like I said, unsigned. There was it didn't meet current, what it
Oh,
was
this
supposed to be
is-
current.
This is all we have on that right there?
Yeah.
Literally, that's the.
That's
snippet?
it.
That's it.
Wow,
So,
that's minimal.
so, again, we had that months back, but like I said, we've been going through every item,
Document.
every document. We haven't found anything to.
So we don't have anything that we need to review that you're
No.
asking to move on or for us
No.
to sign?
No.
So this can be tabled.
Well,
Make a motion.
I'm wanting
To move forward with it in the future, to do something on this, is
to
what
send
she's
it
asking
to an
for.
attorney to
You
get
have
a
to act
draft
on that.
form.
Yeah, I mean,
so
that
you
is
can-
something that we do need.
Okay,
We need an investment policy for sure.
Absolutely, so I make a motion, we create an investment policy.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do away.
5.5, discuss, consider, act on termination agreement regarding Southeast Collin County EMS Coalition Agreement and mutual review.
And regardless if we discuss, consider, act, or anything, the ILA will be dissolved.
No, the coalition.
Yes, coalition agreement will be dissolved. We will need an ILA. So,
Unless the only other option is if you really wanna go with county resources and have your ambulance coming from Princeton.
One last thing I want out of the county.
So
Yeah.
5.5 is what our attorney has
Yeah.
drafted and recommends that we sign.
They drafted it, he's reviewed it.
Do we know what all the other municipalities are doing?
They're,
Does anybody-
it's everybody's
General
doing the same
consensus?
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
consensus of the smaller cities around here, they are agreeing with the ILA, and this is a snapshot that you saw today.
Right, the 25,000 roll rounded up to the 26,000, our budget should,
Yes,
it's well
we will
within
have to
budget.
adjust our next year's budget.
That
We have
does-
a number,
We can absorb that without hesitation.
yes.
And that does increment down over the years to
Yes, it
where it
does.
goes into the middle
Right,
of the
Five
budget.
years,
as
it
they-
drops yearly.
As they make their money back.
Is anyone opposed to terminating it?
No.
I make a motion that we accept 5.5 and terminate the agreement.
I'll second it.
Southeast Collin County EMS.
All in favor?
Second it.
Aye.
Alright.
5.6, update only on application for SUP at 3990 Lakeway by John Crowe.
Okay, council, Mr. Mayor, and citizens, I'm gonna read this because it's very important as to the wording. It's highly unusual for the council to address an item that's under the jurisdiction and review by the P&Z. However, due to the amount of questions and public concern of the issue of the SUP for 3990 Lakeway, I've requested that this be placed on our agenda this evening to update everyone of the status of the current request. As this is in the hands of the P&Z committee, it has not been brought to town council for discussion or action, nor will we tonight. It is my desire that our citizens understand that we as a town are aware of this issue and are looking forward to help resolve it. It has not gone unnoticed. In fact, we, the town secretary, admin, and mayor are the individuals that discovered this issue. Bear with me on this. In 2022, the council directed a concentrated effort to update our codes and ordinances and to catalog and file all official records. All known records were pulled from the attic, the storage shed, the file room, and all offices. Every piece of paper required review. They were sorted and are being filed based upon geographic location by address. It was at this point that the town discovered that neither the Wiley Group nor the ICW had a special use permit in place. True, there should have been an SUP for this facility prior to allowing a certificate of occupancy for the facility to open. That's when the town can make any additional requirements or allowances. That did not happen. Okay? That did not happen. Both tenants were issued. Right. Both tenants were issued COs in 2020. Fast forward to 2023, we began taking steps to correct the specific situation. The town attorney drafted a letter to the property owner for the non-compliance, requesting that they submit for an SUP, which the property owner did in September 2023. P&Z's been working with the property owner to get the paperwork necessary to create a recommendation of approval or denial of this SUP request to council. Contrary to public opinion, contrary to public opinion, the SUP has not been refused or denied, but remains in the process of P&Z, who is diligently working through the town requirements. To date, the property owner and the tenants do not have any code or ordinance violations against them. The fire marshal has inspected the property and it meets all county and fire requirements. Everyone needs to understand that the government works slowly and requires time to complete projects. Citizens have had the opportunity at each council meeting to provide comments, and a public hearing was held January 30th, 2024. Everyone's working on resolving this issue. We will not be discussing this further until P&Z makes their recommendations and turn this over to the town council. Thank you.
Well, I have a question, and then you already answered it, but I really want to express it. Was there a CO,
Yes.
completed and issued for the
Yes.
tenants
Yes.
of this building?
When was
Yes,
the CO?
2020.
2020?
Yeah. P&Z actually has,
For all spaces in this building, there was a CO issued for every occupant.
For each suite.
At that time, it was a pharmacy, the ICW, and I believe it was AA, correct?
yeah, 8,
Was there a CO issued for each?
yes.
Yeah.
Each one of those?
An SUP is to be issued to a building, correct?
An address,
An
a property.
address. Okay,
Property.
so whoever offered that or issued that CO superseded our ordinances.
It would appear, but we cannot discuss that.
Why?
We can't discuss that?
Why?
Why not? Well, first
This is
of all,
not made to us.
the official
It is
that
not
did that
authorized.
is not present. No, we cannot discuss that.
We cannot discuss that.
Then,
Why did we even
as
talk about it?
as a council member, I'm gonna bring up that we have that official that issued the COs in the next meeting to answer for why there was a CO issued without an SUP.
It does not belong to city council yet.
It has to be done through P&Z.
P&Z has got to make their recommendation.
Okay.
That's the end of this. This
Okay.
is dealt with the attorneys, I'm sorry.
All right.
But
Once-
originally, a CO was issued for all three.
Then,
Okay.
this is my proposal.
Uh,
And I motion this.
Well, then,
This is update only.
yeah.
This is update only, then I
Yes.
will not propose anything.
5.7, discuss, consider act with regard to change the regular council meeting date or the adding of a second regular council meeting each month in accordance with the growing subjects as the town moves forward in necessary executive sessions with the town attorney.
I make a motion that we table this since Robert Simmons is not here to be able to provide his input on his schedule.
Only the last meeting we did that to accommodate, another member who wasn't here. We will make sure that they can. I know
I
we
think it's just
discussed,
fair for a long.
Do I have a second?
In a moment, yes. I wanna ask,
Where?
why is the town attorney needed at all of our meetings?
he's not needed at all.
He's not.
The point is,
So that's not the objective.
that's not
No.
the objective. The objective is to have a second meeting, having a second regular meeting. It's not a special meeting, it's a second regular. A lot of towns do this. Most towns have a second regular meeting.
Is
If
this
there's-
being discussed as a ongoing in perpetuity, and we have 2 meetings a month?
Yes.
It's there, if you don't have subjects for that second meeting,
No, we
you can
can't.
cancel it. But there is that option to do that. That keeps it from being a special meeting where you need,
Super
the 4 out of
majority.
5, where you have 3 out of 5. But if you don't have subjects, you can cancel it. A lot of times, there's other things that come up, paperwork that has to be signed or voted on.
I just wanna know what the purpose of it behind this was.
Yeah.
I will second your motion.
All in favor?
No.
All right.
5.8, discuss, consider act on municipal court development. What is, I don't think there's anything to act on.
No, it's discuss, someone had asked me to update on that.
Yeah, I asked for this.
That was yours.
I just wanna know the update, where are we? I think the
So-
town needs to hear where we are with stuff.
So this is difficult. First, we have to find a municipal clerk to help us to guide us through setting up the procedures.
We're having a meeting on Friday with our legal department. We can give you a better update after that meeting.
Do we need, my concern is right now, it takes a month for the town to get updates on stuff like this. Is there?
That's why we'll probably need to go back to 2
Well-
meetings.
Well, right now, we don't have 2
I can
meetings. We have
explain,
one.
let me explain that. So the update is, like with anything right now, it is very hard to find people to help with things like this. We're a small town, so we are going to have to reach out and find that person that can stop and help us. It's not gonna be a full-time job. So we've located, after looking through several, finally located somebody who's within an hour who is interested in talking to us about helping us. So I do have a meeting on Friday with the prosecutor and this person, and also possibly our code enforcement officer, so that we can talk about what's necessary, procedures, and what her involvement may or may not be, should she choose to help us.
Okay.
So, and the challenge is, we can't, as a council, discuss this intra-month without creating a quorum, so we're limited. That's why I wanted this on the agenda, just so that we all were aware of where we are in the process, what's next. So, a meeting on Friday, this will make itself to the next meeting agenda as well.
Can I add something to, can I ask a question on earlier stuff? So, why has it taken so long?
Because you have to find somebody that can help you. There's just not these individuals just pouring in. I know everybody thinks you go and find,
We've had our town attorney,
I've had to tell.
put out
Feelers?
flyers, fleet, fillers, whatever you want, trying to look for stuff, for qualified applicants.
Could we not already contract with an
So-
existing court somewhere?
Can we what?
Can we not outsource this and contract?
No, we
with-
cannot. We have an ordinance that states we must have a municipal court and a municipal judge.
What's the
Now,
law?
huh?
It's the law.
It's the law, chapter 7 of our ordinances states that we must have a municipal judge and a municipal court. And because of that law, contrary to some people that have misled other people and have misled even more through a second source, the mayor cannot act as ex officio judge because we have established a municipal court and a municipal judge. It's Texas state law. You can no longer, and I'm reading this, the mayor can no longer serve as municipal judge. The only way a mayor can serve as judge is if the city has not previously adopted an ordinance creating the office of municipal judge.
Correct.
Section is that?
Why don't you just
change the-
Why are you looking straight at me like that? I was
Swaner, sit
You asked
down.
a question
Mr.
a
Swaner,
long
sit
time
down.
ago, sit down, please.
If you're gonna look at me and address me,
I'm
I'm
not
going to
you.
address
I'm
you.
looking at everybody.
Hang on,
No, you're
hang
not.
on, hang on.
Hey.
Mr. King, just let's, I have questions as well.
Okay.
So, hey, look over here. Don't address the
I look
citizens.
at you all the time.
I know. So,
You're, yeah.
I appreciate it.
You haunt my
So,
nightmare.
what were you citing?
This comes from Texas Government Code 29.004B.
29.004 Bravo?
Bravo. Now,
Texas government code?
Texas
In
Government
gen-
Code.
okay, so,
Tech 29.004,
in a general law city, the
parenthesis,
mayor's.
Bravo, parenthesis, Bravo, period.
Okay, so in a general law city, the mayor is an ex officio judge of the municipal court unless the municipality by the ordinance authorizes the election of the judge or provides for the appointment or qualifications for the judge. If the municipality authorizes an election, the judge shall be elected in a manner for the same term as the mayor. If the municipality authorizes the appointment, the mayor ceases to be the judge on the enactment of the ordinance. The first elected or appointed judge serves until the expiration of the mayor's term.
That is correct, and I
Okay.
believe we have had a judge already. Have we
Maybe in the
not
past,
elected
but
a
the way I
judge?
read this is that we're in contention of the law.
Yes.
So we are, to clarify.
To
we're
clarify,
breaking the law by
since
not having
whoever
a judge.
allowed the judge not to continue, how many years ago that was?
I mean, the thing is, the fact of the matter is that we're currently breaking the law.
We are currently in absence, yes, and we need to find it, and we've actively been working on it. Have we not?
Yes, I agree that we have been working on it, but I guess, for the full transparency, not all of us may not know, Brad may not know, I might not know, why we can't find a judge.
We found a judge.
found
We have a judge. Now we're in the
We've got
Now
process.
you have to establish a court.
Yeah.
We have found someone who.
And a
was
judge
sorry.
doesn't know where the court is, it's just a
Here.
question.
We're setting up the court
Cheers.
here. That's what we're gonna do.
And this meeting on Friday is to do what?
To discuss with the prosecutor and the municipal clerk on the procedures for setting up the clerk, and then working with the code enforcement officer on how the procedures will work, since he is the.
Any idea the timeline after Friday?
Absolutely. We actually,
I don't know how long it will take until I get through with that meeting. There is no way to know. This is all new. I know
I know,
we've been
it's not
criticized. And I know-
criticism, this is
No,
all new.
I'm saying the town's been criticized for not knowing how to
That's
set
a,
up a court.
hey,
Of
let's
course
just.
it is, 'cause we're supposed to
yeah,
have one.
Yeah, let's just focus on the question.
But that's the thing, we jumped in full feet to, both feet to get this done, and received criticism for it.
Well, of course, I mean,
No.
it should have already been done.
I was just
Exactly.
addressed by a citizen, I'd like to address this citizen. Yes. He
I
should
wrote
be fired.
section 29, that's what I came up here and read.
Yes, not completely though. Now, I need to point out, you stood before us and factually, you demanded that we resign because we're not fulfilling our obligations.
No, sir, that is not the case. What I did, and I will speak on that one time and one time only again. I spoke at that because my daughter, a young woman trying to volunteer for a committee, was not emailed about the dismantling. The mayor stated that he couldn't get meetings together, which was incorrect. It's not because of them he couldn't do it. It was disrespect for my daughter, my blood. That's why I stood up here and said that, no ma'am. And so it's one of those where, again, I asked this man to resign. Why? Because of disrespect to my daughter. That is why I said that. This had nothing to do with the judge or
No,
what you're
time out,
talking
time
about.
out. Did you not ask the entire council to resign that night?
No, I said, if you cannot honor what public service is, then yes, that applies to everyone here. That applied to me for 33 years when I did my job. I knew what public service was, and that's what I did. I did not accuse you of not being able to do public service, or you. What I said was, when you disrespected my daughter, that is not public service when you speak into the public. That's why I addressed you, sir. It
Why
had
don't you let
nothing
your
to do
daughter
with the
speak for
race.
herself as an adult?
And
Do what?
Why don't you let your daughter speak for herself? She's an
Mayor.
adult.
Ask her. She'll be more than
I
happy.
mean, you're the one up talking right now,
Ken,
okay?
It's because you're addressing me.
Ken, I was
Right.
addressing you actually.
You're what?
I'm addressing you actually.
Yes, sir. You asked me a
And
question,
yes,
and
you
that's
did
why.
say 5 members.
I told you the same thing. I asked one member, he should resign if he cannot follow public service, and this goes for everyone. If everyone doesn't do public service, then you should all resign. If you're following the rules in public service, and if you are and you feel good about it, then stick it out. I'm not complaining about you or you or you or you or anybody else. I was addressing one man that disrespected my daughter and her efforts to become a community member here in this town. That's the only reason that I spoke on that. I'm protecting my daughter, the one that can stand up and did stand up and ask 2 months running. I've been asking about the committee. I've been asking, and nobody would give her anything, and all of a sudden, boom, they killed the committee she was on. That makes no sense to me, and that's disrespectful when you can't even get an email to say, we're not gonna meet. That was wrong. That's not what you do from a public service perspective. Communication is everything in public service. And that's all I'm saying. You can smile, you can blank, but I did not tell you to resign, and I didn't tell Dryden to resign, or anybody else to resign, unless you're not a public servant. If you don't like being one, then you shouldn't be there. In that case, yes, sir, you should resign. But I did not point fingers at anybody else up here, and all I did was talk to the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. So, a meeting on Friday,
It's not a regular council meeting.
who's gonna be in this meeting?
I am prosecutor and the potential municipal clerk and the code enforcement officer.
But no council?
No.
Would you like to be in that meeting?
No.
Okay, no, the reason, honestly,
No, but I do want an update after the meeting.
okay, and the reason I ask that is because it's things like, with the fire department and all that, we have these meetings with them on a regular basis.
But all we're able to do is to get an update. We cannot respond, and discuss, so.
No, if we
No,
can have,
that
an-
meeting
if we
we
can
can
have an update
discuss.
after that meeting, that'd
I
be,
get that. I'm
that
not
would
about it.
suffice. Yeah.
I just want an update after this meeting
Oh.
of where we are.
Sure.
Can I open the floor just real quick? Mr. King, can you summarize whatever it is that you were gonna say? in
Yeah,
30
just real
seconds?
quick. So when you read that, it sounded like we created an order, or the city, the council, whoever, created an ordinance that we have to have a municipal court. But if you don't have that ordinance.
Somebody did, yes.
If you don't have that ordinance, then it can go back to the mayor.
If you did not have that ordinance, that's a totally different thing.
So we got like 2 or 3 ordinances in here, y'all are getting on. Why not, isn't that the easiest thing to do, is just correct that ordinance, and then boom, we're done?
We created that ordinance back in August,
So
with
you-
the plan that we would be having municipal court.
So that is
in
their election
place
to do
in
for that
June.
long. So, but I'm saying that wouldn't
We
it be easy?
have been working on
Hold on.
that, yes.
Wouldn't it be easy? I mean, it just it just sounds like to me that instead of going to all these meetings and doing all this kind of stuff and paying all these people, doing all this kind of stuff, the easiest thing to do is say, with the ordinance.
Wait, hold on, you say, what?
Yeah, what,
Mayor,
get rid of
Mayor,
it, change the ordinance.
Mayor, it is just, here, so there is a process, the mayor has his right to be able to select the judge that he sees fit, okay, that runs with his term. Okay, it just so happens to be that currently he's reelected, he's,
We're not talking about that.
right, his term is.
It's challenged.
It's challenged, okay, so
Right.
it's considered common grounds that it runs coincidentally with his term.
Right.
Outside of that term, now you have to contractually obligate another magistrate, and it becomes a.
Kind of like we do the fire department and the EMS and Republic Services and
And we have to go
cable
through.
and.
So now when he's presenting his side, saying, hey, magistrate, will you come sign up with me for the next 3 months? And now all of a sudden
Hey,
it's
if-
hard.
if it's-
But that, beyond that, there's still the process of the judge being able to officiate. So if there's certain fines that have to be attributed with that, at some level it becomes a criminal violation. That's where we're at with needing the courts. So if we had a budget like, we'll say Wiley, then I would see that we could start construction sooner than later, but we don't.
But you know you won't have this set up in 3 months.
We don't know.
But thank you.
May, that was planned in August, yeah.
What's that?
Can we move on?
Yep, line 9 is discuss, consider act on tracking and monitoring procedures for all code enforcement, compliance letters and software options.
Yeah, I added this, I just wanted to know, what do we have, as far as, what system do we have to monitor
We don't.
code issues and what software we're using and what are we doing about it?
We don't have anything currently, because the monitoring of it is, we provide you all with a report monthly of where those are. But until we have a municipal court, you can't do anything to anyone, so that's the
Right,
whole
but
purpose.
there are
of this.
softwares
There-
that
there
are
are
designed for
softwares.
this.
There are softwares out there
I would
like,
say-
Oh, what was that? What was the first
Ordinance
one?
is-
that would track that.
This is our.
No. What's the
It's
first
not
one?
that-
Has anyone ever,
What software?
what software?
there's MyGov, there's InterGov, there's all kinds of different ones. But they're not, they specifically are not for code enforcement. Code enforcement is a part of it, would be public works, you know, utilities.
Well, I get it,
bigger
there may
cities.
be overkill in it, but do we
Yes.
have any plans to adopt any software?
So my suggestion right now, and my plan or my thought would be to, we'll keep a filtered Excel spreadsheet so that you can sort by any means. We talked with these people on Friday, these are the things that we're gonna discuss with them, is there software that we should consider, because it is, you know, it's
I
so
talked
specific.
I talked to Travis, and he's gonna bring some stuff in on Friday.
Okay, is that something that town secretary chooses? Is that an item that council needs to vote on?
I think, council would vote on it, we yeah, it would be up to the council to vote on.
Okay, so can we
Is that-
have
yeah.
Mr. Caperton here for next meeting?
I'm sorry?
Can we have Mr. Caperton here for next meeting to?
Oh, Carpenter?
Or Carpenter?
Question, no, Caperton.
It is Caperton.
Okay.
You maybe second guess.
Travis, sorry, okay.
It's Travis Caperton.
Yes.
Um,
I'm gonna call him.
can he be here next meeting to?
We can ask.
We'll ask him on Friday.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he can make a recommendation on what software and we can vote on that?
These are made.
And the cost too, the different, MyGov, these things have different platforms, so all these different platforms cost different amounts, so we need to.
Okay,
look
then
into
can we do a request for proposal or some kind of a estimate from whatever the software provider that our code enforcement officer recommends?
Yes, in fact, I've already, if it's,
So that we can do
Can
something
Can we
with
have
it
that for
next
next
month.
meeting?
I don't know, I have to check in with them and see.
He's already recommended.
Okay.
So I do have,
So
I
we
do have
just need
someone.
to get a proposal from Lakeway.
And possibly, if we can throw in the mix like something shows where he's driven in the town, so we know what parts are being enforced, what part was enforced in the first half of his monitoring duties. So if he drove last week, what part he drove last week? Just so kind of we can overlap.
You're asking for a logbook.
Yeah.
So the reports,
Just so we
when we
know.
get it,
Okay,
each month,
so, go ahead.
okay, the reports that we get each month, this is not what you're looking for. You want something more specific, right?
We need to have technology that can actually track infractions so that we can know when were they, issued and where are they in the process.
Absolutely.
We got a court coming, so we need to have some kind of technology.
And that'll be-
other than just a written thing that we have.
And that'll be a requirement.
Reports we
that
get
there
for
is-
the month.
Those will have to be in place, so.
You good with that one? All right, 510, discuss and consider action on citizen complaint affidavit.
So, this is the form that we use, this was your request on it, before.
Yeah, I don't know where it
Whose item is that?
is. If you guys have any questions on it, that was something I came up with.
This one that's being
No,
used,
this is the one we have, I didn't receive.
This is the one we already have.
This is the one we have.
That's
Yeah.
it. So, this was your thing.
Table 510?
Yeah,
Yes.
table 510.
We're missing a document?
Yeah, I didn't receive it.
I'll second this.
Thank you.
Number 511 is discuss, consider act on creation, defining required qualifications, salary ranges, benefits, search and posting for staff positions,
Okay.
town administrator, town secretary, assistant town secretary, bookkeeper, admin, municipal clerk.
this is something that I requested, and it is, we are looking for professional people to run our city, run the town, and it's going to take more than what we're doing right now. We're not able to just post in the newspaper that we're looking for a town secretary or admin or something. The laws have changed over the years,
But when you say that, is that a factual statement that we cannot physically do it legally, or that
No.
we're unable to do it?
we're unable to do it.
You put out, yeah.
Is just
There are laws that,
questions. Yeah, I'm sorry, there,
the secretary, or not laws, but the secretary has to have certifications.
So we can
They
post,
don't have
so we
to,
can
but
post
there's
these requirements? So we can post an ad for a job with the requirements for the position?
we need to have the actual qualifications that they need. We need to have salary ranges. Right now, if you're, we're just throwing out a number, for a salary for someone. If we wanna get a professional town secretary that is qualified, and this is not against you, Dan, but someone that has got all the certifications and knows what they're doing in all these cases and is able to move forward, it's going to double our expenses. That's just flat out the way it is. Now, in addition to that, and actually, let me back up. We need to actually be able to determine what is that job. We keep asking the question, who's responsible for it, and everyone just points to Leanne, okay? And that's not true. The way that the town is set up is there's certain positions within the town, and they have certain responsibilities. There are staffing firms out there that are able to put all this together for us and tell us who should be doing what job, what the requirements are, have them do a salary study for us so that we know that we're actually getting the right people. In the Wiley paper this week, the Wiley Police Department currently has,
How is that relevant?
No.
the Wiley Police.
That's not relevant. We can't-
It is.
I'm not
They
saying-
have-
I'm not trying to stop you, but why are we talking about why the police department?
I
when
think-
we're looking
We're
for a
stopping.
secretary?
I think
Move
so.
on to it now.
I seen him, he's moving, I'm just.
Okay, y'all just go ahead.
No, I really do wanna hear what you have to say. I just,
I think the point
this,
is,
this police officer position is,
no, I think the.
Wiley, right next door, is 16 officers short. They cannot get them, okay? If they're not able to get 16 professional police officers, how are we going to be able, in our little town, get on a newspaper or get on the internet and try and find someone that can run this place for us?
Cool.
So we
That's
are
what we-
hiring
That's what I was
a
looking
company.
for, yeah.
We're hiring a
Is
company.
that what these documents are for that I'm looking at? That are in
Yes.
my
This is a
packet?
proposal, I
We
just
will-
read through it.
Yes.
Okay,
We want to turn this over to the professionals and let them run with it, let them bring us back 3 qualified applicants for each position.
have they been consulted and asked to do so?
Yes.
They have, and
If,
You've already talked to them.
this is their
So
proposal.
why are we here having to, if council has already made the decision to find somebody, and if the use of, if the need and or use of a professional service to find this role that we're seeking, why are we discussing?
town secretary has $25,000 that she can spend. This is what it's gonna cost. And
Okay.
so,
I didn't know.
yeah, the bottom line is, she is not satisfied, she does not wanna spend $25,000 of the town money.
I get
I'm
it.
saying we need to.
Okay, is council, do we need motion to approve this documentation or the implementation of this search?
No, we've already.
Do we have an act?
You guys have already approved that.
We've already.
We've approved it.
Okay,
So this.
We approved back in October for the.
Absolutely.
Back to the-
So this has
for
already
hiring
been
somebody.
signed and agreed upon?
No.
No.
Council's already.
We, as a council,
Gentlemen,
we have
She's saying no,
decided
you're
to.
saying yes.
Gentlemen,
Yeah.
hang on, can I explain this, please?
please do.
So, you're wanting, the town is wanting to define positions, and they're wanting, and if you're gonna have definitive positions, you're gonna have to have definitive responsibilities. You're also gonna have to have a pay range to attract somebody. This is the problem that the town had when the last secretary resigned. They didn't have.
Let's talk moving forward.
No, I'm trying to say the reason for why you need a proposal, why you need it down there. You didn't,
Do it later.
this, you've got to have, the candidates that came in were minimal. And there wasn't a pool to choose from, and there was always the thought that anybody can do this, and you can with a whole lot of hard work and a whole lot of school hard knocks. the town needs to have someone who is qualified
Address us, please.
to do this, and like I said, I have had to learn a lot of things, and unfortunately,
All right, basically, the proposal that we've been given, which has not been signed, has not been adopted. There's two pieces to it. One is, the first piece is really just job descriptions, compensation package, just kind of figuring out what we need to offer. Okay? $5 to $7 grand. I make a motion that we accept this, because it's a 3-week time period.
I'm sorry, you said 5 to 7 grand? Did I?
5 to 7,000.
Or what?
Oh, you're breaking it out.
Yes.
You've got it broken out.
Yes,
I see what
there's
you're
two
saying.
parts to this.
Yeah,
Right,
okay.
so the-
I'm sorry.
So the
I see
first
what
part
you're
is
saying.
what he's saying.
Yeah.
That's an easy call. It takes, the project's supposed to be done within 3 weeks. I make a motion that we.
Hold on, JT, you have something to say.
Oh, no, I was trying to
Okay.
show him what.
Yeah, I see
where we're
where
at.
you're looking at it broken up, but I
I
understand.
see no reason to defer this one. I say we at least, go with the first phase of this.
Second.
Being 511.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
okay,
Now, the second part of the proposal is the actual, hunt for the applicants.
Yeah, I second.
This is where they take over, they advertise, they post for the job.
Correct.
Jobs plural.
Mhm.
You know, our current code allows for both the town secretary and an assistant town secretary, yes?
yes,
Yes.
Okay. No other positions currently, yes?
there's, I mean, we
No,
have.
correct. Have no other
Currently
Correct.
have no other positions.
So the,
on
so,
staff.
so does anybody have a problem with engaging them, as, to find them? The hires?
Yep.
Okay, gonna make a motion that we.
But is that on here?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, does that address everything? Because we haven't, right, so we're not accepting any new salaries, so we're just completing clear and concise.
Yep.
We're not accepting or increasing any salary ranges or anything like that. We're just saying, give us the information and then we can move part
They're making a
two.
proposal
Yep.
to us, and they're making recommendations. to
Yep,
us.
cool. Works for me.
So, I make a motion that we
Motion.
sign the sales.
So,
I
all
second
right,
that motion.
okay,
All in favor?
Aye.
all right, so both proposals you're saying
Yep.
we go
Yes.
forward.
They're
Okay.
done.
5.13 is update on road maintenance and improvements.
So
Hang on.
512 will be included.
Oh, wait.
512
Oh,
is
yes.
included in what they're going to do. There's no reason to discuss 512,
Okay.
because
True.
that's gonna be part of the proposal.
That's
Okay.
long, yeah.
I need to go back, so on the second proposal, you were the first.
Yeah. Mark was second.
Okay,
513, this was actually mine. I just would like us to keep kind of a running tab of what's going on with streets and roads and potholes and stuff like that. I just think the town needs to hear what projects we're working on, what we're getting bids on, and, you know, what's on the calendar.
so the maintenance, is going to be on South Rolling Meadows, North Rolling Meadows, St. Paul Road, West Shore, Butcher's Block, Coveview, Drain Drive, Lakeview Drive, West Meadow Arc,
And are these,
and Fred.
are these, asphalt repairs
Yes, this
based
is gonna
upon,
be,
based on your driving to town? Is
I
this
drove this,
Kimberton?
no, this is driving with our engineer. And these are the recommended maintenance at this time.
Do we have any citizen requests for maintenance?
Coveview.
It's not on there.
Oh, no,
That's not on
no,
So at this time, we don't have any
this is just maintenance.
submissions by town citizens for road repairs that's not in the scope. Okay?
What about,
Is not Coveview a citizen request?
I had someone call about Coveview always, for some reason, that road gets potholes every year, but the road is in decent shape, it just gets potholes for some reason. And they're not huge. I've been over there, they're sort of, they're not enormous, but they do need to be taken care of. The town does not have an on-call service. That is something else I am working on, is to get an on-call. We don't have a public works group that can just come out and dump stuff in a hole. And finding someone for a small town is difficult because they don't make enough. So I'm trying to find an on-call service that we can pay to be able to get that service when we need it.
Okay.
It's always seemed to work out for maintenance, but it seems that we're getting more of these one-off instances for this type thing and for signs. So,
Drain is a constant problem also.
Thank you for the update.
Drain, not on the-
there
Are we
is,
gonna have additional traffic?
I do have an additional
With
item.
parking?
Okay.
Levon Parkway, there's a drainage ditch there that's been an issue for a number of years. That has already had engineering completed on that. And our engineer is beginning the conversations with Wiley because they're input in the engineering because it connects to city of Wiley issues. So our engineer is already working with them to get a response
With Wiley?
with Wiley.
Are there any town representatives a part of those conversations?
No, I don't see any real reason to be because they are the engineer and they're talking with their engineers.
Okay.
If there gets to be that point, I'll try to dive into that, but, I mean, let's face it, the engineer's the educated source on that, so,
Unless Wiley fixes their side, we're throwing money down the drain.
yeah.
Are you talking about the drainage on Lakeway?
Lakeway, did I say?
I'm sorry,
Levon?
that's what I was.
So we're
Did I say
now.
Levon? I mean, Lakeway, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you said
I
Levon.
I meant
Yeah,
Lakeway.
so Lakeway, so what were the determinations or the conclusions coming from Lakeway Drive? What did he discover, the
Well,
engineer?
That's a ball of wax. I've had discussions with Abiel in depth with it. Part that's caused the issue, unfortunately, is in the city of Wiley. And I've heard a chuckle out here, and I have a feeling I know why, but anyway. The ditch that runs to it is
In
St. Paul. And runs from it is in St. Paul. And effectively, when the city of Wiley put in the cul-de-sac, put in the culverts, they created a dam, not a culvert.
Have they been made aware?
They have been made aware of it, and they have responded that, too bad, so sad, we messed up, and that's your problem.
Did TxDOT notify them that there was gonna be an influx of drainage coming from
I
Parker?
have no idea where the state stands with that, I cannot answer that, like I said, I've talked with Abiel, Abiel's trying to be on top of it. He has a plan that may work, and I believe it will.
What's the remedy for this and the cost?
That is what Abiel's working on right now.
it's going to be probably in the 200,000 range.
Yeah, it
It's
is
significant.
a significant cost.
So, does this remedy include the neighboring properties, cause there's this,
Well,
this
yes.
joins two properties or divides
It's
two
going to
properties, right?
include, unfortunately, probably our city enforcing an easement. Which, as an easement and as a drainage easement, the city has the right and responsibility to do that.
Have we set a precedence from that before?
Unfortunately, a
Unfortunately,
precedent's
we
been
did.
set when somebody dug out ditches without.
When they cut all the trees
consulting
down.
TxDOT.
We
Yes.
took it over.
And there was a significant amount of bull rock dumped in the
Yes,
bottom of
yeah.
the.
So there is a precedent,
So all that
unfortunately,
has to
it
be
was
removed.
We caused a
ineffective.
huge problem.
Now, with water comes erosion.
That's being taken into account. Abiel being the engineer, rather than being recommended by someone else and then just done. ABL is taking it into utmost consideration.
Is there any Wiley residents that are experiencing erosion? I know that
Yes,
St.
as a
Paul.
matter of fact, that was a lawsuit a long time ago.
No.
Cause it's, so if it's exactly where I think it is, it's St. Paul, Wiley.
Yep.
So are both of those Wiley residents experiencing erosion?
Yes, unfortunately.
Has it been proposed to share the cost of this with Wiley?
We've tried.
We're gonna continue
Yeah.
to see, I don't know how successful we'll be, but we've got to get it it's got to get fixed on this side.
Yeah.
As the city of St. Paul, we are attempting to fix what we can on our side to where it can be effective, regardless of what the city of Wiley does.
But we,
That is what our engineers are looking at.
Okay.
but engineering is involved with this,
Yeah.
and, unfortunately, I don't know that engineering was followed previously. And
Actually, engineering was involved in it before, and.
it wasn't followed.
The previous,
It
Yeah,
just wasn't followed.
This has been a discussion for,
Yeah, that's it.
before you all were on council.
Yeah, this was before we,
Have we notified the residents that
We're even
are
involved
being
in it.
affected?
There's been several, I believe one of the residents, if
One of
I'm
the
not mistaken,
residents.
is just, the property's just turned over to a new
Yes.
new resident. I'm not familiar with them. I know, the lady too, on one side of these, but she's very aware with it, of it. Mark has had numerous conversations with her. I've talked to her on the phone. We haven't recently, but it's,
We should probably follow up, I don't know what reason is, but,
Are you talking Wiley residents or?
well,
No,
with St. Paul.
with St. Paul, yeah. I mean, there's gonna have to be some coordination there. It's,
Yeah, we need to address we need to address
But-
that at
but
bare
we-
minimum our citizens,
but
and then
it's
allow
moving
Wiley
forward.
to address that.
well, the
It also-
unfortunate,
I know before, but it was Wiley was like.
the unfortunate and unforeseen thing that it may cause us issues with the engineering, ABL brought this up, is the expansion of Parker.
Right,
more water.
because there's gonna
Because
be
that
more water.
affects, that directly affects the ditch, where it runs, how much water's put onto it.
So that's, but that's a text dot issue, right?
Well, it's a text dot issue,
Which
but
affects
after the text dot shoulder, it is now a St. Paul issue.
The other thing that slows this project down is it will require competitive bidding because it
Yes.
is over the $50,000 range.
Okay.
So,
All right,
it's very detailed.
Okay, 5.14,
Thank you.
discuss, consider act on development of town purchasing policy.
Which was this?
That was me, that's another one where, again,
yeah,
we have there's a purchase, a procurement policy there, again, not signed, not dated, don't know when it originated. We found that, we had to get through the documents,
May I ask where it was found?
I'm sorry,
May I ask where it was found?
in some old audit documents, but we can't find anywhere where it was adopted or that again, it's not current with current laws and that sort of thing, so we do need to send it through our attorney to update and,
My question is, we don't have anything in here to look at.
no,
No,
it's
'cause it doesn't
outdated,
exist.
not signed,
Do you need a motion for us to submit it to the attorney for updating?
I would, I mean,
Do
you
it.
know.
Just do it.
Do it, okay.
Just
I
do
just
it.
want
Yeah.
you to know.
If it's a
Update on
procurement-
status of records project.
oh boy.
Okay.
Let's table that, can we table that? Everybody, was that yours, David?
That was mine, I just
Okay.
want, just a brief update, it's not a discussion, it's not an action item, it's just an update. I think the council and town needs to know where we are with it.
So, as
We have 4
you may or may
boxes.
not know, we took an awful lot of old documents were just piled in boxes, on shelves, on surfaces everywhere. The shed
Where are
was
we at
so-
right now? How far along are we into it?
That's not when it's gonna be done.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, like I said, last time, we are probably 95% through the sifting of the documents. We're now moving into, we're gonna have to move into then the sorting and putting them in electronic order. There's gonna be duplications. We had
How long will that take?
I can't tell you.
We finished scanning the boxes?
We've got a few boxes
We had-
left.
We had
We've
4
got-
boxes last update.
I think there's like 2 maybe boxes left. We still got a huge contracts drawer of old contracts that we have to go through and determine if they're, you know, in their evergreen period, if they need to be terminated or if they terminated under their own terms.
Leanne, I don't wish to add more work to you, but
Please don't.
what about the state recording requirements? Are these remaining documents prepared to go before the state and be filed with the state?
There's no filing with the state.
Not
There-
anymore?
No, this is, you're following the T-Select schedule. So what is left is what they call the, permanent records, or what's required to keep for a certain period of
How
time.
long does the state require us to keep those?
The schedule for different type documents. So some are permanent, some are a couple of years. This has been very tedious when you talk about 50 years of paper.
Now, is the state historian involved in any of this?
No.
Okay.
No. Let's see, where was I going? The last piece of this, I've been talking with our IT group, is how we get through the end of this, and, one of their suggestion was OCR. We'll go through and because we don't wanna do it on everything, because we're not keeping everything, but the remaining documents, going through and doing OCR on
They have to be
those remaining
destroyed.
documents.
Yeah.
But,
The question you've answered?
Yes.
I mean, are you expecting a month, 2 months?
Oh, no, if I had just that to devote my time to,
Well, you don't, so.
I can't tell you, because I don't know how much time I have to devote to it, so.
Okay.
Are there
What would it take one
organizations or
person to do?
contractors that we can bring in to finish this
We
faster?
have a second employee.
I,
No?
here, let me approach this from another perspective too. As we're looking at new employees, and I discussed this with our IT group, they said, this was one of the things they pointed out, and it was a very good point. You're finishing up with the old, and you're moving into the new, and this is a good place for possibly the new hires to learn, because they're taking what's left and then, arranging it for,
These are boxes that are 50 years old though?
I'm sorry?
These are boxes that are 50 plus
Just,
years old?
no, I'm talking about what's remaining. This is gonna be good for them to know what's
Oh.
remaining, so that they can locate.
Gotcha.
We're, like I said, the 50-year-old boxes are gone now, so.
Yeah.
We're down to about a couple of boxes. There's still some file drawers, but now what we think we have is going to be what remains. It's organized, and, there's some question about what the state requires you to have hard copies versus electronic copies, or if you're required to have both. And I think we're gonna visit with them again, because I think there is some room maybe to eliminate even more paper and go electronic.
Okay, so 95% still serving.
90 to 95%, I'm gonna
Okay,
venture to say.
5.6, discuss, consider act on adopting the town.
Yeah, 516, this was my recommendation, guys. As I look through the town, we've got 15 to 20 places of worship within a few mile radius of us. There are other towns that have adopted an invocation policy, and in light of places of worship sometimes being in conflict with the city and with city residents, where these places of worship also provide value and support and so forth to citizens. I'd like us to consider adopting an invocation policy. It's purely voluntary. I pulled off the invocation policy of Rowlett, Texas. It's a very similar situation to ours. We could adopt it. Also included a description of kind of FAQ, question and answer about the legality of all of this, and it's, why it's allowed and so forth. There's some restrictions that it not be a proselytizing thing, and it can't be, anything as far as disparaging other faiths and so forth. But I think it would be a very nice move to start bringing town, leaders of places of worship into meetings to provide an invocation, bless the council, pray for us for wisdom, and also be in more communication with the town.
We only have one place of worship in the town, so we would have to go
Outside of the town.
That's,
So I'm good with it, I think it's great, so we wanna make a motion.
So, I make a motion that we adopt an invocation policy.
I'll second.
I'll second it.
Too slow.
All in favor?
so, all right, so y'all, who was it?
It was me.
Okay,
It was John,
okay.
Brother John.
Do I have any, nays on that one?
There are some guidelines that the city of Rowlett has put together, that it's a pretty complete document. So if you haven't read through it, I encourage you to read through it. It's, again, purely voluntary, but it's a great way to invite, leaders of houses of worship into this so that we can open better communication. So, thank you for that.
5.7, update on visit from Texas Municipal League.
Okay, Robert Simmons had asked for that.
Can we table that then for Robert?
Yeah,
And
Robert's
I've already
fine.
talked to him about it, I'm just gonna
What's
take
that?
care of it. I've already talked to him about it, I'm gonna take care of it. Texas Municipal League no longer makes visits to the council meetings.
And I recommend we table it.
TML?
There's no action.
It's an update, they don't, it's,
Yeah, there's no action needed.
there's no action, yeah, they don't come out, they don't come out.
Update on visit from General Code.
Also, Robert Simmons, we're still working on getting Mr. Franklin here to do that for us.
Oh, that's right, General Code changed their name.
Roz has got some specific questions for him with regard to the history on things that she's unearthed. We're waiting for a response back from him in his bunch on that, and then we'll try to get that on a meeting just as soon as possible. So that's enough.
Okay, I know on here, and that's just gonna make a point here, where it says update on visit from Texas Municipal League. I understand that, it was up here, but if you go back to five says regular agenda, it says discuss, consider, act on the following items. So we can discuss that and we can act upon it under that clause, just to let you know, if you wanted to.
On which one? 5,
Number 5, regular agenda,
okay.
so that all, is all encompassing for everything under there.
Which we tabled 5-7.
17.
Say 7 or 17?
5.10 was gonna be tabled.
Well, yeah,
We'll
you
take
you
the
tackled
5-7.
5-7 is fine.
Okay.
So 519,
Yes, sir, go with it.
whose is this?
So item 18, I request to be placed on here, do the 8-foot masonry wall. I moved out to the country so I don't have to see a wall. I'm not in favor of masonry walls anywhere. And we seem to be stuck in a deal that if you're building a church or anything, you have to put up a masonry wall. I don't like it. I don't,
Well, John, I don't like disagreeing with you, and I don't disagree, but according to the regulation, it says all mechanical equipment shall be completely screened from the street and adjoining property by use of an 8-foot masonry wall. This is in code article 8-2. Also further down, it says where a commercial zoned area or lot abuts a residentially zoned area, an 8-foot masonry wall is required as a visual barrier and buffer between such lots and zones. Now, there's a reason for that. People don't wanna see commercial buildings from their house, nor mechanical. I don't wanna see a huge air conditioning system
Amen.
outside of my house, and that's why they asked for masonry wall. Perhaps we can change masonry to live wall, structure, But I understand moving out, I mean, same reason we moved out here, we didn't wanna see all the city crap. You know, and that seems to be the general consensus of everybody here, we don't want the city crap out here. This is my opinion, so I'm giving it to you.
With all due-
I appreciate it.
Well, with all due respect, John, I actually don't have a problem with a 8-foot masonry wall. If somebody's gonna put a commercial building next to me, I don't want their septic spraying into mine, on me and stuff like that. Now, we do have a means where an applicant could apply for a variance. And my view is that if every affected homeowner is okay with not having a masonry fence, I would consider that as a potential variance option.
Yeah, bring a petition to us.
But just to strike that from code, I don't think.
No.
I'm thinking of a couple of locations, specifically that.
Again, it doesn't matter what, if somebody wants to apply for a variance, they can do that. If you're thinking of a particular, with all due respect, if you're thinking of a particular place, it doesn't really matter.
Ask for a variance.
Yeah, they've got a means to ask for a variance.
As do you.
So,
And I wanna expound further upon that, because this leads into another issue we'll have to bring up in the future. Flat work, because with a masonry wall, there is usually flat work involved, which will change the flow of water.
and require engineering.
And require engineering, and according to the state of Texas, it's illegal to change the flow of water without proper engineering.
FEMA states that.
Or FEMA, it's national, you're right, it's not the state of Texas. So, I understand your point with masonry wall, because masonry walls do change the flow. But, again, a variance can be asked for. Anybody can request a variance.
Keeping in mind that what it actually says there is against residential property,
Yes, a
Not-
commercial against residential.
Residentially zoned.
residentially zoned.
Now, if you're an ag,
Exactly.
that's a different thing.
If you're.
The property that's in county does not require the wall. So we've got multiple locations where you would have, look like Snagglepuss there with, a wall, no wall, wall, no wall.
But we have this issue already with the church across the street. Two sides is against residential, third side's against residential county.
No.
But we can still move the wall.
Well,
Because it's on
they're in
our
our
county.
ETJ,
It's in
yes,
our-
we can say, but technically they're in county. So, again, that's a sticky wicket.
Okay.
Anyways, continue with your motion or your point.
Well, again,
Hold on,
this
hold on,
is,
real quick, if you wanted to submit, write and submit a ordinance, you can do that. That's what you want to do.
Oh, what?
Change an ordinance.
Change an ordinance.
Yeah, you can do it.
it
I
it has
just,
to go to P and Z.
yeah, okay.
Anything with them.
Make yourself
Dead.
ready.
Is
Are
that-
you
wait a
good?
minute.
Yeah, it's dead.
Is that true?
What,
Yeah, P and Z would have to.
if it's ordinance related, change ordinance related, have to go to P and Z.
But then one of us can write it, come up.
You
with-
can
and
send
give it
whatever
to
you want to them.
So any kind of ordinance change, because I'm about to bring one, so any ordinance change has to go to P and Z.
Yes.
It goes through them to give us a recommendation. and we
Unless we make it-
accept the resident.
We can accept or deny their recommendation.
Exactly.
But an ordinance, you can put one together, give it to P and Z, they'll recommend. Again, it's bureaucracy.
Isn't there a,
Then I can table 520 until, I submit it to P and Z.
Yes.
Because by 20 we're tabling,
Okay.
I have a second on that.
I'll second.
But that's 520, so we're not done with 519.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm done with 519.
Okay, so no action.
No action,
No
yeah,
action.
it's dead. 521.
We
I-
need to discuss this.
Okay, no, I don't think well, in my mind, I don't see any reason to discuss this to death. This was once again, was thrown to us by someone, and I disagree with it. Personally, I need a go-kart to come out and ride on the track. That's just me.
Can I make a motion that we, not take any action on 521?
We table it for a later date.
I don't say table, I say.
Table it, huh?
No
You
action.
wanna make a motion
No
to
action.
table it?
Make a motion for no action.
I'll second that.
I'd like to kill it.
Okay.
That's what no action is.
All right, no action for Dryden and Trevino?
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against?
Nay.
The no action on 519, that was just voluntary no action, or?
Table.
519, voluntary no action, or, I don't know. Yeah, heck.
522, discuss only Collin County election and administrative evaluation of town, all as possible.
Okay.
We do
so-
have to discuss that.
So, that was brought up in citizen comments, that it's always been in place. Yes, it's always been in place. However, when you are.
What was the evaluation? Sorry.
So first off, the polling place, I reached out to them to ask if we could be considered for a polling place.
Town hall.
Town hall. Felt like that was gonna be a much better opportunity for the residents. And
Did they come out and
They-
inspect
they-
it,
they
and are they
did.
looking for it?
they did come out, they have to inspect it, they have to
Have
take.
they done that?
They've done that.
Okay.
They've been
Have they
here.
got back to us?
No.
Okay.
They come out, they take pictures, they send it, that has to actually go to the state. The state has to evaluate it, even though they say, yeah, this looks great, state still has to bless it. And then it comes back to them, and then they decide, if it's going to be, if it's needed. So I think that we're in good shape for that. I think we're in, I think they're needing polling places because there was a lot of, I'm sorry, my voice is shot. There's a lot of places that have canceled their elections, so they're not necessarily offering up additional spots. So I think we are.
So bottom line, we are trying to have it here.
We are working
Yes.
to try to have it here, we're doing
Yes,
everything
but they-
possible to have it here, but it doesn't, it's not just because you say you wanna have it
Right.
here, it happens.
But we are going through
The
the
proper
efforts to.
motions.
We're waiting for the county to give us their.
Approval.
And Leanne, am I mistaken, assuming they must research other places?
There's many places that they
Yeah,
look
so
into, so.
so even though we offer them a place, they have to
Recommend other
research
places.
other places.
Yeah, they look at,
Yeah,
they've got a crew that comes out and looks
Yeah.
and makes sure that you're.
So the idea that was floated earlier that we should have it here was not mistaken, but the fact that we should not look elsewhere is not our doing.
No.
That's correct.
That's not
Okay,
our
It's up to
problem.
the county.
All right,
We
it's
can
not up
volunteer.
to us.
Do we know what other locations are being, are,
No,
no?
no.
5.23, discuss, consider act to take official action to submit JT Trevino as qualified person for a candidate for Texas Health Benefits Full Board of Trustees for Region 13. Do I have,
I make a motion that we approve 523.
do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. You're it.
Aye.
What do you, David? 2-4. There was a few council members that put in for that. I'd like to table it if we could. Let's get a motion to table that.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we table 524.
I'll second.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay.
I'll beat you to it.
All right?
I treated you.
Please stand adjourned.
Thank you.